Accidentally rented a Xiaomi S680 while driving. Facing the golden circle's high-ranking figure stepping out of the car with a cold face. My dad nervously held his head and asked, "Can we pay in installments?" Over 3 generations. After saying that, he threw my photo out. This is my second generation. At this moment, I was dozing off in class. Suddenly, a beautiful girl burst into the classroom. With a loud bang, she pulled me out of my dream and back to reality. I drowsily opened my eyes, only to see a stunning figure standing at the door, while I was still mesmerized by her presence. The girl walked straight towards me, then suddenly grabbed my hand and started pulling me out of the classroom. I stumbled as she dragged me. "Who are you? Beautiful, let go. Let go." Only then did the homeroom teacher recover from the shock. Hurriedly stepping forward, he asked, "Who are you, student? What do you want?" The girl paused slightly. She looked at the teacher and replied coldly, "Luo Qingli," a name that shook the world. The entire school, even the whole city. Who didn't know about this 18-year-old genius girl? She was admitted to the computer science department of Jin University as a high school sophomore. At such a young age, she had already taken over the Luo Corporation as its heiress. Luo Qingli's voice remained indifferent. "I have something urgent right now. Someone will explain it to you later." After speaking, she forcefully took me away, leaving the stunned crowd behind. 10 minutes later, I was leaning over a trash can outside the hospital, dry heaving. Beside me was a red Lamborghini. The driver's door opened. Luo Qingli stepped out of the car. "Can you at least wait until no one's around before throwing up? I don't want people to get the wrong idea and think I did something to you." I angrily wiped my mouth and glared at her. "You think I want to throw up? You were driving so fast, were you rushing to be reborn?" Luo Qingli, expressionless, walked past me. Her deep, commanding voice carried an order. "Hurry up and follow me. Follow your grandpa, my ass." And with that, turning around, he wanted to leave, but Luo Qingli narrowed her eyes slightly. A chilling warning lingered in the air. "Try taking another step forward. I'm telling you clearly. There is a life upstairs waiting for you to save. If you're like a stone statue, you'd better follow me. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind sending you to the afterlife for real." Hearing this, I was startled. A life waiting for me to save. I looked up. I realized we were at the People's Hospital. Without asking any more questions, I quickly followed. As soon as I stepped into the hospital corridor, a doctor rushed over anxiously. "Miss Luo, you finally arrived. Is it this gentleman?" The doctor glanced at me. When he saw my entire face, he looked slightly surprised. Then he turned to the nurse and instructed, "Prepare for surgery immediately." I was utterly confused. Surgery? What is going on? Then, I glanced at the person lying in the hospital ward. Wait, not far away. A child was lying in a hospital bed. I stared at Luo Qingli in shock. Your daughter? Luo Qingli gave me a sidelong glance. "I'm 18 this year." I was even more shocked. Looking at her, I asked, "You had a daughter at 18? Luo Qingli turned to the doctor beside her. "If my sister receives his blood, will it affect her intelligence?" The doctor explained seriously, "Miss Luo, rest assured. Blood transfusions do not affect a person's intelligence." Then he turned to me and said, "Sir, I believe you now understand the situation. Miss Luo Jia had a car accident. She urgently needs a blood transfusion. Unfortunately, she has an extremely rare panda blood type. Only your blood is compatible with hers. Please follow me to the operating room immediately." Hearing this, I nodded without hesitation. Lying in the operating room, I watched as my blood was drawn out continuously through a tube. Finally, I slowly pieced everything together. Outside the operating room, the beautiful girl who forcibly dragged me here turned out to be the famous Luo Qingli. Her sister had been in a car accident. Since she had the rare panda blood type, finding a matching donor was extremely difficult. Coincidentally, I also had panda blood. That's why Luo Qingli sought me out. After the blood donation, I sat down to rest for a while. Pressing my arm, I turned my head to look. Luo Jia's second young miss was confirmed to be safe. She just had her eyes tightly shut and hadn't woken up yet. Luo Qingli was sitting by her bedside. At this moment, there was a laptop resting on her lap. Her fingers were rapidly tapping on the keyboard. Lines of complex code flashed across the screen. Luo Qingli stared intently at the laptop. Finally, when she saw the data displayed on the screen, she frowned slightly. She still hadn't found his information. To this day, There was still no trace of him. Was he still alive? If he was still alive, his body should have scars. But why did his records seem to have vanished into thin air? Feeling ignored, I was quite annoyed. Like a ghost, I floated over. Hey, Luo Qingli. Expressionless, I closed her laptop. I pressed on the area where my blood had just been drawn. Aren't you going to at least thank your benefactor? After all, I just saved her sister's life. I had given so much blood. But ever since I walked out of the operating room, this girl hadn't spared me a single glance. Luo Qingli, as if hearing the funniest joke in the world, laughed coldly. She hadn't strangled me yet. That was mercy enough. She lifted her cold gaze toward me and sneered. Why should I thank you? What? Is there no justice left in this world? I was about to curse. But just then, the ward door swung open. A middle-aged couple hurried inside. When I saw the man who walked in, I almost thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. Why is my dad here? My dad looked uneasy, seeing the cold sweat on Luo Qingli's forehead. He rubbed his hands together and turned his gaze to me. You still have the nerve to ask? I called you earlier, why didn't you pick up? Your aunt and I were driving to pick you up from school. And we ended up hitting the Luo family's second miss. She almost lost too much blood. Luckily, I suddenly remembered that you also have panda blood. Your blood type matches hers. Otherwise, my dad didn't dare to think further. Meanwhile, the middle-aged woman beside him smiled, bowing and nodding at Luo Qingli. Miss Luo, this was entirely our fault. Please forgive us. Luo Qingli let out a cold laugh and tossed her laptop aside. Just a minute ago, your son was self-righteously demanding that I apologize to him. My face burned with embarrassment. I had no idea things had turned out like this. No wonder Luo Qingli hadn't shown me a single kind expression from the start. She acted as if it was only natural. Hearing this, the middle-aged woman's sharp eyes glared at me. She raised her voice. You brat, are you deliberately causing trouble for us? Do you even know your place? Being able to donate blood to the second miss is an honor for you. And yet you dare to ask Miss Luo for an apology. Who do you think you are? This woman's name was Yang Hui. She was my dad's second wife. Also my stepmother. 5 years ago, my mom became a vegetative state due to an accident, so my dad decisively divorced her. Yang Hui, the mistress, successfully took her place. To this day, my mom remains unconscious. That year, I lost everything in an instant, and it was all because of this woman. Thinking about it, my hands clenched into fist unconsciously. My head buzzed. I could barely hold myself back from stepping forward and slapping her. Beside me, my dad pushed me slightly. Haoyu, I'm begging you. You should first go and apologize to Miss Luo. After all, it was her family that caused the second Miss Luo's car accident. There are some things in our family. Excuse me, do I even have a family now? That woman personally drove me out of the house back then. Why did no one talk about our family then? Seeing that I remained unmoved, Yang Hu pointed at me. Her voice was even sharper. Lin Haoyu, do you want to ruin us? I told you to apologize to Miss Luo. Are you a dragon now? Have your wings grown so strong that we can't control you anymore? Get over here and apologize to Miss Luo. With that, she rolled up her sleeves and stepped forward, looking as if she was ready to teach me a lesson. Enough. Luo Qingli stood up. Her eyes were filled with indifference. Her voice carried no warmth at all. Who gave you the guts to turn my place into a scene of your shouting and fighting? Yang Hui hurriedly spoke. No, Miss Luo, please listen to me. Luo Qingli's eyes were filled with impatience. Get out. The rest will be handled by the lawyers. As for you, don't ever appear in front of me again. Mother was flustered. It seems Miss Luo has no intention of forgiving the Lin family. Suddenly, a soft, tender voice came from the hospital bed. Sister. Everyone turned their heads. They saw a little girl who had been unconscious. At some point, she had already sat up. The little girl looked about 10 years old. Her forehead was still wrapped in bandages. Her smooth hair looked soft. Her delicate little face was as exquisite as a doll. Her sapphire blue eyes shone like stars. She still had a bit of baby fat, but her chin was slightly pointed. A perfect little loli. Luo Qingli walked forward, her entire face filled with gentleness. Linger, you're awake. Do you feel any discomfort? Luo Linger pouted and poked her own head. It hurts here. Please save me. What's happening? I think I've lost a lot of blood. So scary. Luo Qingli was momentarily stunned. Little one, don't move your hands. The doctor beside her started examining Luo Linger. Her body. Then the doctor smiled and put down the stethoscope. Miss Luo, there's no major problem anymore, but you still need to rest and recover properly for a while. Saying that, the doctor gently patted Luo Linger's head. Second miss, don't worry. You're fine now. The blood you lost, that young man over there has already replenished it with his own blood for you. Luo Linger's clear, bright eyes flickered. She looked in my direction. Then, she gave a brilliant smile. Her voice was crisp and sweet. Big brother, thank you for saving Linger. Hearing that, I quickly waved my hand. It's nothing. Luo Linger smiled at me. Then, how should Linger repay Big brother? Saying that, the little girl furrowed her brows, seriously thinking. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. I know, Big brother, Linger will marry you and be your wife, okay? No. I almost choked on my own saliva. Luo Qingli knocked on Luo Linger's little forehead. Linger, what are you thinking? He's much older than you. Luo Linger pouted. So what? Age has never been a barrier to love. I felt like I had been struck by lightning. Did this really come from a child under 10? Then, Big brother, will you wait for Linger to grow up? Linger tilted her head and spoke in a soft, childish voice. Sunlight streamed in through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She smiled without a hint of regret. Luo Qingli glanced at me indifferently. Ignore her. You can leave now. No. Big brother can't leave. Linger's legs are injured. She can't move. Saying that, she clung tightly to my arm. We haven't even exchanged contact info yet. And also, Linger still hasn't figured out how to repay Big brother. Standing at the side, Yang Hu quickly chimed in with a fawning tone. No need to repay. No need to repay. Second miss, it is his blessing to be able to donate blood for you. Not just donating blood, as long as you are safe. Even draining all his blood would be fine. Linger turned her head to look. Who are you? I am. Yang Hu felt a bit awkward. She couldn't just say she was Lin Haoyu's stepmother, right? She quickly pushed my father forward. He is Lin Haoyu's father. We are all Haoyu's family. Linger frowned. With a puzzled expression, she said, if your brother Haoyu's family, then why did you say something about draining all of brother Haoyu's blood? Aren't you afraid it would make him sad? Her words hit me right in the heart. I looked at the little girl tightly holding onto my arm. Afraid that I would leave. Yang Hui pinched my father's arm, giving him a meaningful glance. My father quickly nodded and laughed nervously. Second miss, as long as you're fine. Nothing else matters. Yang Hui quickly nodded in agreement. Yes, second miss, you. Unexpectedly, Luo Linger interrupted her. She turned her head, looking at the noble young lady behind them. Sister, these two people are so noisy. Linger just woke up. She needs to rest. Luo Qingli's cold gaze landed on Yang Hui and my father. Get out. Yang Hui was reluctant, but didn't dare to argue with the Luo family's influence. If Miss Luo was still angry about the car accident, then with just a word from her, Ling Corporation would have no choice but to wait for destruction. Miss Luo, we will leave. Luo Qingli remained expressionless, but her voice was chilling. Don't make me repeat myself a third time. Yang Hui turned pale. Why yes. We will leave now. Saying that, she dragged my father out. She didn't forget to turn back and glare at me. What are you standing there for? Hurry up and get out. I shot back sarcastically. Why don't you go ahead and die first? Then we'll talk. My father quickly pulled Yang Hui back. He turned his head and called out, Haoyu, hurry and come out. I scoffed coldly. Then I patted the little girl's head gently. Softly, I said, your name is Linger, right? Big brother has to leave now. You need to rest well. Goodbye. I glanced one last time at this adorable little girl. I probably won't see her again. Then, I got up and walked toward the door. Seeing this, Linger became anxious. Just as I was reaching the doorway. Brother Haoyu, don't go. Sister, call him back. He's Linger's lifesaver. Luo Qingli patted Linger's head. Softly, she said, his family hit you with a car. They caused your accident. He's just repaying his family's debt. Linger immediately stiffened. She was just short of rolling around on the bed. No way. He is Linger's lifesaver. I want him to come back. If you don't bring him back, Linger will never eat vegetables again. Luo Qingli looked at Luo Linger with slight surprise. So, if he comes back, you'll obediently eat vegetables? Linger immediately sat up. Counting on her fingers, she declared, "As long as Big Brother comes back, Linger will eat vegetables for a whole week. I won't be picky at all." Luo Qingli frowned slightly. Half a month. Linger held up 10 fingers seriously. 10 days. Luo Qingli remained indifferent. 20 days. Linger tilted her head back and wailed, "Sister, you're a bully. How can you bully your own little sister like this?" She kept sneaking glances at her sister's reaction, hoping she would relent. Luo Qingli turned away mercilessly. "A month. If not, forget it." Linger immediately stopped crying. She wrapped her arms around Luo Qingli's long legs. "No, Linger was wrong, okay? A month it is. I knew I couldn't outsmart my devious sister. Then hurry and call Big Brother back." Luo Qingli sat back on the sofa unhurriedly. "No rush. I have a way to make him come back willingly." Her gaze swept across a book, but her mind was elsewhere. The face of that young man lingered in her thoughts. As I stepped out of the hospital room, Yang Hui exploded like a volcano. She turned to me, eyes blazing with anger. "You brat, just a few days without discipline, and you think you can turn the world upside down? What was that attitude just now? Do you even have any manners left?" I clenched my fists tightly, lifting my head to look at her. "A woman who climbed her way up by being a mistress. And you have the nerve to lecture me about manners." The next second, a loud slap landed on my face. I stared in shock at the man whose hand was still raised. The man who had just hit me. It was my father. "How can you talk to your aunt like that? She's your elder. She's just teaching you a lesson. What's wrong with that?" My father glared at me furiously. "Hurry up and apologize to your aunt." My face stung with pain. A flood of emotion surged in my chest. Yang Hu folded her arms, watching me gloatingly. She looked smug, victorious. This child needs to be beaten when necessary. Otherwise, he won't even know his own last name. I wiped my lips, lifting my chin slightly. If I had a choice, I'd rather not have the Lin surname. My chest rose and fell violently. My father raised his hand again. How did I raise such an ungrateful son? But the next second, someone grabbed his arm. A faint scent of lavender surrounded me. I turned my head in surprise. Was I lucky with beautiful women today, or what? Another stunningly gorgeous girl. She wore the same school uniform as Luo Qingli, but unlike Luo Qingli's cold, aloof demeanor, there was something different about her. Every movement he made exuded gentleness. Although I didn't know what happened. "This is a public place. Please be mindful of yourselves. Maintaining boundaries is best." Even her voice was incredibly gentle, like a soft breeze over the river, as if it could blow away all anger. My dad might have realized his impulsiveness, but couldn't bring himself to admit it. He glanced at me, flicked his sleeve, and walked off with his hands behind his back. Yang Hai's glared at me. "Such a disgrace," he muttered, and followed. The girl looked at me and asked if I was okay. I brushed my messy hair aside and softly said, "I'm fine, thank you." The moment she saw my face, she looked a little surprised. Here we go again. Everyone who sees my face makes that same surprised expression. I always instinctively react against it. I quickly lowered my head and adjusted my bangs to cover my forehead, noticing my small action. The girl looked away and smiled. "It's okay. It's just that those two were really too loud." "Oh right, here." The girl pulled a boiled egg from a bag of accessories she was carrying. "Use this to apply on it. It can reduce swelling." I hesitated for a moment, then held it with both hands. "Thank you." The girl smiled and waved. "You're welcome. I'll get going now." I watched her back until she completely disappeared before I came to my senses. Come to think of it, I still don't know her name. Although I don't know her name, I felt like she was a very kind person. The hospital room door opened. Luo Liner was resting her cheeks on her hands, leaning on the windowsill and looking down. Her small mouth kept murmuring, "Strange. Why hasn't Brother Haoyu come out yet?" "Linger," a gentle voice called out. Luo Linger turned her head and smiled happily. "Sister Suchin." Suchin smiled as she walked in carrying a bag of food. "Linger, lunch is here. Go wash your hands and come eat." Luo Linger shook her head. "No. I want to wait for Brother Haoyu." Suchin turned, her questioning gaze toward her best friend Luo Qingli. "Brother Haoyu?" Luo Qingli was leaning sideways on the sofa, her cold eyes scanning the book in her hands. Without lifting her head, she replied, "The guy who just donated blood for Linger. He just left." "I see." Suchin placed the bag of food on the coffee table in the hospital room. "There." Then she sat down on the sofa next to Luo Qingli. "By the way, there's still no trace of that person." Luo Qingli's voice was calm and indifferent. "It's like they vanished into thin air. There's no valuable information at all." Suchin rested her chin in her hand, looking thoughtful. "Seems like it's really hard to track." Then she smiled playfully and said, "If it were your idol, maybe he could find something." 3 years ago, a legendary hacker named Apple appeared online. He could infiltrate police systems, but never stole any data. Instead, he provided evidence chains for suspects under investigation. Criminal evidence. 2 years ago was ICO's most active year online. Although a hacker, he did many righteous things. And that same year was Luo Qingli's most depressing year. Thinking of that, her glassy eyes lit up a little. She unconsciously nodded. He might really be able to do it. Suchin patted Luo Qingli's shoulder reassuringly. "Don't worry, take your time. One day, we'll find the answer." On the other side, after I left the hospital, it was already 1 p.m. I had just stepped out of the hospital gate when a black Benz suddenly stopped in front of me. The window rolled down, and my dad was driving. Yang Hui was sitting in the front passenger seat. "Your little brother is still waiting at home. I'm going back to eat with your aunt. I won't drop you off. Just take a cab back to school yourself," my dad said, and reached into his wallet to hand me some money. Unexpectedly, Yang Hui snatched it away. Yang Hui gave me a condescending look and said sharply, "Take a cab. Are you swimming in money or what? Third high school isn't far from here. Let him take the bus on his own." As she spoke, she rolled the window up. My dad was about to say something, but one glare from Yang Hui shut him up. Helpless, he had no choice but to drive away. I let out a small chuckle. My cheek was still a bit swollen. I simply texted my homeroom teacher to ask for leave and decided to skip the afternoon classes. Then I tucked my phone into my bag and walked home. At the deepest end of the alley, love for a lifetime, I pushed open the rusty iron gate. In the room to the left of the bungalow, a pale-faced, middle-aged woman lay there quietly, an oxygen mask on her nose. I forced a small smile. "Mom, I'm home." The woman gave no response. 5 years ago, my mom and I were kicked out by the neighbors. She became a vegetative patient and hasn't woken up since. I walked over and started talking nonstop. "Mom, so many things happened today." I told her everything that had happened in detail. Afterward, I stood up and gently tucked her blanket in. "Mom, from now on, I'll definitely protect myself well. You don't have to worry about me. I'm going to make dinner. Get some good rest." As I turned, I paused slightly in front of the bathroom mirror. I stopped for a moment. I tilted my head and looked at the left side of my face in the mirror. Then I ran my fingers through my thick bangs, once again covering my cheek. I quickly moved past the mirror. The next morning, when I woke up, I realized I hadn't slept well last night. I even dreamed about Luo Qingli, that icy person. In the dream, she pulled me by the collar and laughed maniacally, like a lunatic, saying I could never escape again. She even threatened to drain all my blood. I woke up terrified, still shaken. On the way to school, I was yawning constantly, dragging my feet weakly toward the classroom. As soon as I walked in, the entire class instantly went silent. Everyone turned their heads to look at me. I blinked in confusion. "What's going on?" A student in the front row smiled and asked, "Why are you here?" I looked up at the class sign, Class 6, Grade 12. That's right, 2 seconds later, a few boys in the class exploded with excitement. They instantly surrounded me. "Lin Haoyu, what's your relationship with Luo Qingli? Where did you two go yesterday? How do you even know? Miss Luo, come on, spill it." I took a step back. "Can you guys ask one at a time?" They were all talking over each other. Their spit was practically drowning me. Then a male student sneered and said sarcastically, "Lin Haoyu, no matter what tricks you use to win her over, Miss Luo, that is, too bad you've already been expelled." You didn't know, did you? I widened my eyes in shock. What did you say? Why was I expelled? The boy looked at me smugly, clearly enjoying it. I wouldn't dare make this up. The homeroom teacher told us, personally yesterday afternoon. As he spoke, the teacher walked into the classroom. Everyone get ready. Class is starting. I immediately stepped forward and asked, Teacher, they said I've been expelled. What do they mean? The teacher glanced at me and said, It means exactly what it says. Your stuff has already been packed up. Take it and leave. I looked confused. Why? The teacher frowned. Unexcused absence. If we don't expel you, who should we? I grew anxious. But I was dragged away yesterday. You all saw it. And I even messaged you in the afternoon. The teacher cut me off impatiently. Enough, enough. Don't say another word. This was the principal's decision. Lin Haoyu, you've been expelled. I was completely stunned. How could this happen? Right then, a classmate walked in and said, Lin Haoyu, someone's here to see you. I turned to look. It was my dad standing at the door. The sun must have risen from the west. My dad actually came here to find me, the moment our eyes met. He waved at me enthusiastically, motioning for me to come out. That slap from yesterday was still fresh in my memory. If I could, I really wanted to pretend I didn't see him. I walked over, but my tone wasn't friendly. What do you want? My dad looked at me with guilt in his eyes. How you da? Dad was wrong yesterday. I came early today to find you. To apologize in person. Hearing those words, I don't know why, but my eyes lowered. I said nothing and walked silently. Dad will take you out for a proper talk, he said, pushing me out by the back. I didn't refuse. We went to the dessert shop across from the school. My dad pointed at the menu. Want something to eat? How about mango mousse cake? Your little brother loves that. He always buys several at a time. I glanced at the price. One tiny slice cost 40 yuan. That's today's of my living expenses. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was I'm allergic to mangoes. Every time I eat them, I break out in rashes. A flicker of confusion flashed across my dad's face. Then, let's change it. Tiramisu, maybe? That should be okay, right? I held the glass of water and responded softly. After ordering, my dad finally got to the point. Haoyu, do you remember that second Miss Luo from yesterday? I thought for a moment. Instantly, that cute little face popped into my mind. My dad looked nervous, fiddling with his watch. The second Mrs. car accident was caused by our neighbor. Even though she's fine now. You know full well, with the Luo family's influence, if they really pursue this matter, our Ling Corporation will be ruined. But now they've made an offer. If you take care of second Miss Luo for 1 month, until she's fully recovered, the Luo family will drop the charges. Hearing this, I finally understood. So that apology, that fatherly love, it was all fake. The real reason was right here. And to think I foolishly believed. My heartless dad had suddenly grown a conscience, that he actually cared about me. I shot to my feet. I'm not going. Why should I pay for that woman's mistake? Seeing this, my dad immediately said, Haoyu, only you can save the Lin family now. Please, son. I glared at him in fury. Let me make this clear. I'm not taking responsibility for her mistake. I'm no saint. I'm not that generous either. When the soft approach failed, my dad instantly changed his tone. Don't forget you've already been expelled. I looked at him in disbelief. Don't tell me, Dad. You were behind me getting expelled from school. He glanced at me sideways. I'm just reminding you, he said calmly. You don't have a school to attend now. But if you agree, I'll transfer you to First High School right away. You can start there tomorrow, instead of staying in this average school. I clenched my fist, refusing to back down inside. Still, I replied firmly, I told you. I'm not going. This is a matter of principle. Seeing I still refused, my dad finally slammed the table and stood up. I raised you all these years, and I can't even ask you for one small favor. Do you have no conscience at all? Even a dog I raised this long would know how to be grateful. Let me make it clear. If you refuse to go, You won't get a cent from me. For your mother's surgery. She's scheduled for surgery next month, right? Without money. Let's see how you take care of her. Those words struck my weakest spot. I bit my lower lip so hard it turned pale. After a long silence, I finally gave in. Fine, I'll go. Only then did my dad's face light up with joy. Immediately, I was driven to the Luo family's house. Inside the luxurious Luo family villa, Luo Qingli sat elegantly at the table, gracefully eating her meal. Lunch today was Chinese cuisine, rice with a variety of colorful and flavorful dishes. Luo Qingli took a sip of soup with poise, then glanced at the little girl next to her, who was poking her rice listlessly with her chopsticks. Are you counting rice grains, Linger? Big sis, how did you know? Linger is really good at math now. I'll count them for you, okay? With that, Luo Linger seriously began counting the grains of rice in her bowl, transferred everything into her sister's bowl, muttering 1, 2, 3 as she did. Luo Qingli placed her chopsticks over her bowl, leaning back against the chair. She crossed her arms and stared at him. Luo Linger shivered slightly and obediently sat back down, placing her hands on her lap. Luo Qingli's voice was cool and sultry. What did we say at the hospital yesterday? No being picky with food for a month. Luo Linger only remembered hitting her head. Did she forget that much? Really? Luo Qingli gave a cold laugh. Is that so? Then you better forget about that young man too. You'll never see him again in this lifetime. Luo Linger looked urgently at her sister. Seeing her cold and icy expression, she wrinkled her nose in grievance, then threw her head back and began to cry loudly. Bad sister. Always bullying Linger. I don't want a sister anymore. Luo Linger was the type who didn't cry often, but once she did, it was dramatic, and she couldn't be stopped. One of those magical kids. Nothing anyone said helped. Luo Qingli, who could do everything else, was probably worst at handling kids. She held her aching head, then shot a cold look at the nearby servants. Are you all statues? Why are you standing there? Go comfort her. The servants flustered to calm her down. But unfortunately, Luo Linger's crying was like the sky falling apart. The more they tried, the worse she cried. Luo Linger, if you keep crying, I'll really make sure you never see that person again. Her cries grew even louder. The servants were speechless but dared not speak up. Miss, can you please stop adding fuel to the fire? Luo Qingli coldly warned again. I'm warning you. Don't think crying will get you what you want. You know that won't work on me. The servants wanted to cry too. Miss, please, we beg you, just stop talking. Just then, the butler walked up. Mr. Lin has arrived. Before Luo Qingli could respond, Luo Linger's crying stopped instantly. Luo Qingli glanced sideways at Luo Linger. Why aren't you crying anymore? The little one still had sparkling tears in her eyes, blinking her bright eyes. Her tearful voice tinged with a hint of excitement. Brother Haoyu really came. Hurry, and let him in. The butler waited for Luo Qingli's response. Luo Qingli slowly dabbed her mouth with a napkin. Let him in. The Luo family villa was so luxurious, it almost blinded me. A kind of deep in the soul awe. I really am just a poor guy. Such a big villa. Do people living here not get lost? From afar, I saw a noble, elegant girl sitting at the dining table. Luo Linger was so happy she wanted to jump off her wheelchair. Although the Luo family had a private doctor who allowed her to go home and rest, she did lose a lot of blood yesterday. Her leg was still wrapped in thick bandages, like a little rice dumpling. Without help, she couldn't even move. The little one was getting really anxious. Seeing Luo Linger, that little angel, I felt my heart was melting from the cuteness. I quickly stepped up, squatted down with a smile and said, Linger, how are you feeling today? Why are you out of the hospital so soon? Luo Linger replied with a smile. Because my sister said, the hospital environment and the doctors weren't as pleasant as home, so I came back this morning to recover at home. The corner of my mouth twitched. I turned to look at the girl behind me and scratched my bangs to cover my forehead. Then politely opened my mouth and said, My dad already told me that I'll be taking care of Luo Linger this month, until her leg is completely healed. To be honest, as long as I take care of her for a month as compensation, The Ling group really got a good deal, but there's no helping it. Who told Luo Linger to keep asking from morning to night to see the brother who gave her blood? What's so great about this guy anyway? Luo Qingli indifferently withdrew her gaze, picked up her soup, and continued drinking it, as if she hadn't heard a word I said. I smiled on the outside, but cursed inside. This poker-faced girl, I'm talking to you. Would it kill you to respond? So rude. The butler, quite observant, quickly spoke up. To ease the awkwardness, Mr. Lin, please try to persuade second miss. Her body is already weak after yesterday's accident. She needs nourishment, but our second miss is notoriously picky with food. No one can persuade her. Just now, over a meal, she was scolded to tears by the eldest miss. Only then did I notice. Luo Linger still had tears in the corners of her eyes. Before I came, I already figured out my role here. So I stood up on my own accord. May I borrow the kitchen for a moment? The butler looked at Luo Qingli. She didn't object and nodded. Follow me. 15 minutes later, I came up carrying a small tray. Looking closely, on the tray, there were all sorts of cartoon shapes made with food. I cut carrots and some vegetables into shapes like tiny trees and flowers. Arranged like this, even a plate of food looked really fun. The visual appeal went way up too. Linger, want to give this a try? Luo Linger's eyes lit up as she nodded excitedly. Yes, yes. Then she looked down and started eating happily. Luo Linger was not a kid who held grudges. She adorably turned her head to look at Luo Qingli. Sis, do you want to try this rice ball? It's really yummy. Luo Qingli scoffed coldly. Childish. It's all just rice. It's just a different presentation. If I shaped it like a pig, would you think it tastes better? Come on, I clearly made a bear, okay? Luo Linger took a big bite, her little cheeks puffed up. But it really is delicious. Luo Qingli didn't respond. Luo Linger. Being picky is the Luo family's biggest headache. And this man casually changes the presentation and completely wins her over. He had already finished his meal, elegantly sipping tea from a delicate teacup. You should be grateful that your food could at least fool her temporarily. That way you don't look completely useless. I was instantly infuriated. Luo Qingli, can't you say something nice for once? Luo Qingli continued sipping her tea calmly. Do you think I need to say nice things to please you? Her expression clearly said, this is just your job. I really wanted to dump the teapot on that beautiful but punchable face. What a venomous woman. My gaze fell on the tea set nearby. I immediately grabbed it and walked over with a flattering smile. Miss Qingli, I know Linger's accident was our family's fault. I'm here to make amends on behalf of them. Please don't be angry. Let me serve you some tea. Luo Qingli glanced sideways at me. I cheerfully shuffled closer. Then suddenly my hand slipped. As I cried out, oh no. I watched helplessly as the tea looked like it was about to spill all over Luo Qingli. But surprisingly, she reacted quickly and stood up at once. The cup didn't land on Luo Qingli, but shattered on the chair instead. Then the tea splashed all over my face and clothes. I wiped my face, almost coughing up blood. Luo Qingli, why did you dodge? Luo Qingli folded her arms calmly and coolly. She looked like she had everything under control. Was I supposed to just sit there and let you pour tea on me? Idiot. I'm innocent here. Don't frame a good guy. My hand just slipped a bit earlier. Luo Qingli maintained her arms crossed posture. Her voice was cold. It's best if that kind of hand slipping doesn't happen again. That teacup you broke just now was worth 10,000. Butler Li. Remember to collect the money from Lin Haoyu later. Butler Li was stunned for a moment. Miss isn't someone who would care about a mere 10,000 yuan. She was clearly doing this on purpose to mess with Mr. Lin. Then he gave a deeply sympathetic look to poor Mr. Lin, who was completely dumbfounded. How could he voluntarily provoke a scheming eldest miss? I stood frozen on the spot. Had I known a single cup here was that expensive, I never would have tried a prank like that. I instantly dropped my pride. Miss Qingli, I was wrong, okay? I'll never do it again. Luo Qingli sneered. Save your fake smile. I quickly changed my expression. I swear I won't do it again. She shot me a glance. If you want to repay your family's debt, you should at least show some sincerity. I nodded quickly. Yes, I'll keep my position in mind. Luo Linger had almost finished everything I made. Just about done. She patted her little belly and spoke up, sister. Don't bully big brother. Just listen to her. Linger is such a little angel. How did someone like the demon queen Luo Qingli end up with such an angelic little sister? That girl is truly a miracle of the world. Luo Qingli's voice was cool and sharp. Listen, I admit you're good at coaxing my sister, but I hate idiots the most. So stay as far away from me as possible, within the limits of what's feasible. With that, she turned and strode toward the second floor with long legs. Walking, she gave orders. Bring a cup of coffee to my room. I have a new program to code this afternoon. No one disturb me. Grinding my teeth, I lightly kicked the leg of the table to vent. I hate how that woman always acts so high and mighty. Luo Qingli didn't pause a beat, her beautiful side profile outlined by layers of light behind her. What now? That look clearly said, you got a problem. Pay the 10,000 yuan for the cup first, then talk. Her gaze slowly chipped away at my confidence. Bit by bit, it faded. I ended up forcing an awkward smile. Miss Qingli, good luck with work. Your company's game. A lot of my friends are playing it. In front of Luo Qingli, I felt like I couldn't even lift my head. Total defeat. I slouched back to the dining table. Luo Linger began seriously comforting me. Brother Haoyu, don't take my sister too seriously. She's actually a really nice person. I honestly don't see what's so nice about her. I gritted my teeth and started counting on my fingers. Arrogant, sharp-tongued. From head to toe, she's the perfect image of an evil capitalist. And also, big bro, Luo Linger tugged on my sleeve and timidly pointed behind me. Even before turning around, I already felt an icy aura enveloping me. No way. I turned my head slowly, like a robot. And when my eyes met Luo Qingli's stunningly beautiful face, she raised an eyebrow, expressionless. Her voice was cold, and also what? Finish your sentence. I bit my lip, struggling to think of something. I mean, yes, you're arrogant and sharp-tongued, but you're also very beautiful. Not just beautiful, you're extremely beautiful. And I scratched at my bangs, trying to cover my forehead. I'll tell you the rest once I think of more. Luo Qingli picked up the laptop she had left behind earlier and gave me a look full of subtle meaning. Luo Linger adorably looked up at Luo Qingli. A crisp sound. Sis, can we clear out a room so big brother can cook? In response, came a commanding voice that couldn't be refused. No, said Luo Linger, pouting. Why not? Didn't we agree that until my leg heals, Brother Haoyu would always stay with me? Luo Qingli frowned deeply. Because I don't want to live with someone who doesn't even know how to suck up to others. Under the same roof, I was speechless inside. She makes it sound like I'm dying to move in. Luo Qingli got busy working. I didn't see her again for the whole afternoon. By dinner time, I made a special kids' dinner. Just for the little milk bun. Linger, doesn't your sister have school? I heard last time that Luo Qingli just turned 18. Luo Linger shook her head. My sister got directly admitted to Jinda during her sophomore year, so now it doesn't really matter if she goes or not. How can there be such a big difference between people? My grades are also great, but definitely not good enough to get into a top university without taking the exams. God really is unfair. He basically gave all the good things to that girl upstairs. I turned to check the time. It was already 8 p.m. I got up and said goodbye to Luo Linger. Linger, big brother is heading home. Luo Linger quickly put down her food. Her sapphire eyes looked at me nervously. Will you come again tomorrow? I smiled and pinched her chubby cheek. I'll take care of you until your leg is fully healed. That's also the deal I made with my dad. If I take care of the little bun for a month, he'll transfer me to Jingcheng one high school, and cover the cost of surgery for my mom. Speaking of which, I should report to Jingcheng one high school tomorrow, so I really need to go back and prepare tonight. Thinking of that, I patted Linger's head again. Softly said, too bad. Starting tomorrow, big brother also has to go to school. I'm afraid only after school and during holidays I can come look after you. Hearing that, Luo Linger looked so sad. Then Linger won't get to eat your breakfast tomorrow. I winked at her. You still can. If you don't believe me, just see when you wake up tomorrow. Luo Linger's face was full of anticipation. Her eyes sparkled brightly. After I left, Luo Linger instantly went from energetic to a deflated balloon. A servant pushed his wheelchair upstairs. Luo Linger knocked on Luo Qingli's door and pushed the door open. She poked her little head in. Sister, I'm going to bed. Can you tell me a story? Luo Qingli had just finished coding. Her beautiful face showed fatigue, faintly visible in the dark. She looked tired, but it didn't affect her aura at all. Instead, it added an indescribable charm. She stood up and turned off the desk lamp. All right, I'll tell you a story. After coaxing her sister to sleep, it was already 10 p.m. Luo Qingli finally felt a touch of malice. She went downstairs to the kitchen, opened the fridge, and saw a plate placed in the most noticeable spot. It was my signature kids' meal. There was even a note on it. Just heat it up a bit in the morning, and you can eat it. Luo Qingli chuckled softly. This was made by that man for Luo Linger. With slender fingers, she picked up the rice ball he mocked earlier and took a bite, almost involuntarily. It's bad. She said that, but still ended up finishing the whole rice ball. Bit by bit, eating every last piece. The next morning, the weather was bad. It was drizzling lightly. Afraid of traffic jams, I got up an hour early, caught the earliest bus, and got off at the stop closest to school. Then walked to school on foot. At the same time, at the gate of Jingsheng No. 1 high school, in the front passenger seat of a black Mercedes, sat a delicate-looking boy. Ling Cheng complained unhappily, Dad, why did you transfer that annoying person to be in the same class as me? His dad smiled sincerely, trying to please Yao Chun. Don't get upset just yet. Pay more attention to your image. You're somewhat well known now. Be careful. Paparazzi might snap photos of you. Wenyan Lincoln's face turned darker. Don't joke with me. These past 2 years, the only gigs I've gotten are bad movies and some pitiful little ads. With how I look now, even without sunglasses, no one would recognize me walking down the street. And you talk about being photographed. Are you mocking me on purpose? Lincoln's aggressive tone was exactly like his mother Yang Hui's. At least I call you Dad. And this is how you treat me. You never help me land any good roles. And now you even let that jinx go to the same school as me. Are you planning to bring that vegetable home too? Lin Yuan found it hard to speak. Zhao Chun, the entertainment industry isn't as easy as you think. Even if you have money, without connections and networking, it's still useless. After saying that, Lin Yuan sighed deeply. Of course he wanted someone from the Lin family to become a star. That way, for the Lin Corporation's film industry, it would be a huge help. But now the elder son is disfigured. Only this younger son can be cultivated. But with his current social standing, he simply can't reach big directors, let alone access good resources. Sometimes, whether you become famous or not, really comes down to fate. But Lincoln didn't want to hear any of it. Spare me the lecture. If he could be famous 5 years ago, why can't I do it now? I think you're doing it on purpose. My mom and I suffered so much back then. Endured so many grievances. Dad, have you forgotten all of it? Lin Yuan sighed again. Dad knows he wronged you and your mom. So I want to make it up to the both of you double. In this house now, everything is decided by your mother. Lincoln snorted coldly. And now you want Lin Haoyu to go to the same school as me. You clearly know just seeing him annoys me. Lin Yuandong looked a bit helpless. Haven't I been explaining all along? It's all because we hit the second miss of the Luo family. She specifically named your brother to take care of her. If I didn't use some tricks to give your brother a benefit, would he listen to me obediently? Lincoln didn't seem to want to hear more explanations. Coldly said, he's not my brother. Then he pushed open the car door and walked toward the school. From afar, he saw that familiar and annoying figure and quickly walked toward them. Meanwhile, I felt like I had walked 100,000 miles. Finally made it to the school gate. Because I had been walking in the rain for so long, my shoes were soaked. I looked a bit miserable. Suddenly someone rammed into me hard. Caught off guard, I fell straight into a puddle ahead. The umbrella in my hand also dropped to the ground. After steadying myself, I turned around and froze when I saw who it was. Compared to my sorry state, my half-brother Lincoln looked much more elegant. I didn't want anything, just didn't like the sight of you. Wanted to teach you a lesson. I'm no pushover. I stood up directly and kicked him hard. Lincoln, looking for a fight first thing in the morning, huh? Lincoln staggered a few steps, turned around and glared at me. You dare push me? I lifted my chin. Yeah, I push you. So what? I can't stand the sight of you either. So what if I want to teach you a lesson? Lincoln pointed at me and shouted angrily. What are you so smug about? 5 years ago, your mom was just a loser to my mom. Now she deserves to be a vegetable. Heard she's still lying at home, not dead yet. Lincoln sneered full of mockery. I took deep breaths repeatedly, trying hard to suppress the urge to beat Lincoln down. Right then and there, I warn you, I can let a lot of things slide. But say one more word about my mother, and try me. Lincoln smugly opened his mouth. From the moment Dad brought my mom and me back to the Lin family 5 years ago, you already lost. This life, you'll always be beneath my feet. Don't even think about turning things around. After all, it was the first day reporting to the new school. I really didn't want to cause trouble. I clenched my teeth and silently repeated, I'm not angry countless times. Then I turned around. For people like Lincoln, the best response isn't arguing, but complete disregard. Sure enough, Lincoln was clearly upset about being ignored. It was peak time for students arriving. Classmates with umbrellas kept walking past and noticed the argument between Lincoln and me. They whispered and stared while walking by. Hey, isn't that Lincoln? The most handsome guy in year 1. He's pretty good looking. I heard he's been in a lot of commercials. He's got over 1 million followers on Weibo. Who's that guy next to him? Never seen him before. Then someone lowered their voice suddenly. Wei. Did you see that? That guy's got a really scary scar on his face. Oh my God, it's terrifying. My heart tightened, and I hurriedly pulled my bangs down. The scar ran from my forehead down to the left side of my face. Even though the hair between my brows covered it, it still peeked through faintly. One glance was enough to shock. These past 5 years, what I feared most was people looking at me like I was a monster. Lincoln looked on with satisfaction at my embarrassed state, feeling incredibly pleased inside. Lin Haoyu, you totally deserve it. I told you, you'll never rise again in front of me. The rain kept pouring down, little by little soaking my face. Crap, I need to find my umbrella fast. My eyes anxiously searched for it. Just then, the rain above my head was suddenly blocked. I looked up, surprised to see an umbrella held above me. Then my gaze shifted to the gentle, lovely girl in front of me. He was a bit surprised. He curled his lips into a smile. It's you? The crowd around us instantly erupted. Whoa. It's Su Xiaohua. Su Xiaohua is stunning as always today. Her smile is so warm. But why is Su Xiaohua holding an umbrella for that ugly freak? She handed me my umbrella and gently said, the rain's getting heavier. You'll catch a cold if you don't use an umbrella. I took the umbrella and nodded. Thank you, I said. Su Qing gave a soft smile. Why is it that every time we meet, you always start with those exact words? I awkwardly shook my head. Do I? But it kind of seems true. This is only the second time we met. And both times, she saved me like an angel. Off to the side, Lincoln was dumbfounded. Su School Beauty, you two, what's going on? Can someone please tell me what this is? Why does Su the campus beauty know Lin Haoyu? She's one of the school's top 3 beauties. But Su Chen seemed to ignore Lincoln completely. Her gaze was focused only on me. Did you just transfer here today? Which class? I looked at her and nodded. Class 4, Year 3. Su Chen smiled and said, I'll take you to your classroom. This school is big. It's easy to get lost if it's your first time here. I felt flattered and surprised. Really? Are you sure? Won't it be too much trouble? Su Chen smiled and waved it off. Not at all. And so, under the jealous and envious stares of the boys, Su Chen and I walked off side by side under the umbrella. Lincoln clenched his teeth in fury being ignored. School beauty. Why are you being so kind to that ugly freak? Why does Lin Haoyu even deserve to walk on this campus? I looked at the gentle and lovely girl beside me and asked, by the way, I still don't know your name. I'm Lin Haoyu. Suchin repeated my surname, then studied me closely. I blinked, feeling confused. What's wrong? Suchin shook her head, nothing. You just remind me of someone. I blinked again. With my current face, who could be so unlucky to look like me? Poor soul, honestly. Sukin's fair and beautiful fingers held up the black umbrella as she tilted her head to look at me. Then she softly said a name, Mingshan. 5 years ago, 3 boys just over 10 years old formed an idol group and officially entered the entertainment industry. The name of that group was Biolan Light Years, and the boy named Mingshan was the group's leader. At the time, the 3 boys of Biolan Light Years were incredibly popular, but it didn't last long. After just 1 year, the group's leader was disfigured during a kidnapping and completely withdrew from the entertainment world. Since then, there has been no news of him. That once wildly popular idol group gradually faded from the public eye. Hearing Suchin say the name Lin Tian, my steps suddenly faltered. As if struck by lightning, I was frozen in shock. Suchin noticed my reaction and looked puzzled. You know him too? I quickly shook my head. Nope. Don't know. Not familiar. Suchin smiled. Really? He used to be a really famous star. I quickly added, actually, I don't really follow the entertainment world, especially something from 5 years ago. How would I remember? Suchin didn't continue the topic. Soon we arrived at the entrance of the school building. She put away her umbrella. Wait for me here. 3 minutes later, she came back, surprisingly holding a band-aid in her hand. Then smiled at me and said, hold out your hand. Didn't you notice you're injured? Only then did I notice a scrape on my palm. Probably from when I fell earlier. Suchin carefully applied the band-aid for me, then nodded in satisfaction. Take care of yourself. Don't get hurt again. This girl was unbelievably gentle. As I looked at her back, I asked, you still haven't told me your name. Suchin turned back and smiled at me. My name is Suchin. Then she turned and walked into the school building. I went to the restroom and leaned close to the mirror to take a look. Ooh, the sticker doesn't hold up when wet. I lifted my hair and peeled off the scar sticker. A stunningly handsome face appeared in the mirror. So breathtakingly beautiful, but there was a dark aura between the brows. I looked completely different from a moment ago. I sighed as I looked in the mirror. After getting used to seeing myself covered in scars, suddenly seeing my real face again felt a bit strange. I reapplied the scar sticker, looking at my ugly reflection in the mirror again. I nodded in satisfaction, thinking about what Suchin had said earlier. I took out my phone, hesitated a moment, then logged into an old Weibo account. The profile clearly showed verified information and said the account hadn't updated in 5 years. No new content. Yesterday's homepage visits were only 1,000 or 2. The entertainment industry is such a fast-paced and ever-changing place. 5 years is more than enough to completely forget someone. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. I jumped in shock and hurriedly fumbled to answer it. A somewhat familiar voice came through. Hello? Haoyu, you finally decided to come online. The guy on the phone is Song Ming. He's been my best buddy since we were kids. How have you been lately? I replied sincerely, still hanging in there. Barely surviving. Calling me at this hour? Aren't you not allowed to use your phone during school? Song Ming chuckled and said, I didn't go to school today. I'm at home. Then I suddenly remembered. There are only 3 months left until the contract from 5 years ago ends. But you sound so calm about it. Back then, you were the best looking among the 3 of us. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm the one involved here. Why are you angrier than me? Song Ming said angrily. I'm just mad on your behalf. You were so popular back then. If it wasn't for that incident, I chuckled, interrupting him. It's only been 5 years. I've almost made it through, right? Song Ming emphasized again, 3 more months. Then you'll be free from that contract. Speaking of which, I bet that loser Ling Chun still has no idea. He thought kicking you off the stage would make him famous. But look what happened. Without you, he's still a bottom-tier D-list celeb. No way he's making it big. I really want to see his face when he sees how you look now. Totally slapped in the face. That would be so satisfying. I smiled and said, "You're too far away from me. I'm afraid you won't get to witness it in person. If possible, I'll try to stream it live for you." Songming got a bit excited. In a few days, my mom and I are moving back to Beijing. And Yicheng is coming back to China soon too. Then the three of us can be glued together every day. There was a trace of excitement in Songming's voice. I got a little excited too. Is everything you said true? I glanced at the time. I quickly said, I gotta go for now. A lot has happened to me these past couple of days. I'll tell you everything in person when we meet. After turning off my phone, I looked at the mirror. Again and again, I checked if there was anything wrong with my makeup. Then I walked out of the restroom. At that moment, I felt a cool and graceful figure with a powerful aura approaching from the other side. Feeling that presence, I turned my head. Damn, it really was him. Instinctively, I immediately jumped away from Luo Qingli. My entire back pressed against the wall behind me. I don't know why. Maybe because this girl seemed noble. She had an aura like she was above all and untouchable. Every time I saw her, I'd inexplicably feel intimidated. Luo Qingli said casually, "You came to use the bathroom yourself." As soon as I said that, I wanted to bite my own tongue off. What the hell was I even saying? To prevent Luo Qingli from commenting on that topic, I quickly changed the subject. By the way, aren't you curious why I suddenly appeared at Jingcheng No. 1 High? Luo Qingli looked at me expressionlessly. What? Did you fall from the sky or something? Am I supposed to be curious about your sudden appearance? I was immediately at a loss for words. Normal people would at least be a little surprised, right? But according to Linger, Luo Qingli had already been recommended to university. So, whether she came to school or not didn't matter. And she's already so young, yet starting to take over the family business. She must be super busy. I walked closer and couldn't help but ask, "Oh right, why did you come to school today? I thought you wouldn't bother coming to school anymore." Luo Qingli glanced at the band-aid on my hand. She casually asked, "What happened to your hand?" I shrugged it off casually. "Just tripped and scraped it a little." Luo Qingli let out a cold laugh. "You tripped while just walking. Why don't you just fall and die?" I was kind of shocked. "Luo Qingli, did you come to school just to mock me on purpose?" Luo Qingli took out a tissue and wiped her hands. She coldly said, "Do you own the school?" I shook my head, "No." "Then why do you care?" Luo Qingli said as she crumpled the tissue and tossed it into the trash can. Then she turned and left. I looked at her back and muttered, "What an ice-cold expressionless face." Humming a tune, I walked to the end of the third-floor corridor. I looked up at the classroom sign. "Class 4, Grade 3 this is it." I gently pushed the door open. The previously lively classroom fell silent instantly. Everyone turned to look at me. Instinctively, I scratched my hair and touched my cheek. It was a subconscious habit I developed over 5 years. After hiding my appearance. "Hello, everyone. My name is Lin Haoyu. I just transferred to this class today, and I hope we can all get along in the future." The students in the front row started whispering. "Isn't Lin Haoyu the one who openly flirted with the school belle Sue in broad daylight?" I'm telling you, I just passed by the restroom earlier, and I actually saw Miss Luo there. And this Lin Haoyu is now trying to flirt with our Luo school belle. The class fangirls were first excited that Luo Qingli came to school today, since she rarely ever shows up at school. It's really rare to see her. Then they got furious at the next comment. "What did you say? That ugly freak actually dares to flirt with Luo school belle? That's absolutely unacceptable." Ling Shan was also in this class. Seeing everyone mocking me like this, he felt extremely pleased inside. I stood at the door, clutching my backpack strap. Ignoring all of them, I calmly walked inside and chose an empty seat in the back row. The whole time, I acted as if I hadn't heard any of their mockery. Ling Shun, sitting in front, glared at me angrily. Instead of angering Lin Haoyu, it ended up making himself furious. What he hated most was Lin Haoyu acting like this, pretending to be so generous. Getting insulted by so many people and not getting angry, he was probably fuming inside already, acting all indifferent on the outside. What a fake and disgusting person. During the break, I got up to go to the bathroom. Not a single person came with me. Even though I was used to being isolated, I still felt a little emotional. I really hope Song Ming and Yi Cheng come to keep me company soon. With my mind all over the place, I turned down the stairs. The next second, I ran straight into Ling Chun. I was speechless. Ling Chun, what do you want now? I don't have time to argue with you. As I said that, I tried to walk around her. Ling Chun grabbed my arm and glared at me. She snapped, Lin Haoyu, you better tell me honestly. What exactly is your relationship with Luo Qingli? I glanced at her and said, my relationship with her? What's it got to do with you? Ling Chun glared at me fiercely. I'm warning you, don't take kindness for granted. Luo is going to be my girlfriend in the future, so stay away from her from now on. I smiled deliberately to provoke him. Oh, forgot to tell you, Luo Qingli and I see each other every day, and her sister totally adores me too. Ling Chun raised his hand, ready to punch me, but I grabbed his wrist and flung it to the side. At that moment, we heard voices coming from downstairs. Some classmates were chatting and laughing as they walked up. Ling Chun yelped in surprise and stumbled backward quickly. With a scream, Ling Chun rolled all the way down the stairs. No way. I was stunned. How could that happen? I didn't even use much force just now. The classmates around us all went into chaos. Oh my God, what happened here? Quick, take him to the school clinic. With help from a few classmates, Ling Chun sat up. He looked at me pitifully. Lin, why did you push me? For a second, my mind went blank. I could only instinctively respond. You're lying. I didn't push you at all. Passers-by chimed in, still denying it. We all saw it with our own eyes. That's right, it was you who pushed Ling Chun down the stairs. It's bad enough that you're ugly, but now you're bullying classmates too. Everyone around was speaking up for Ling Chun. Ling Chun, covered in injuries, held his face in pain. But upon hearing everyone's accusations against me, the corners of his lips curled slightly unnoticed. I bit my lower lip. I didn't push him. If you don't believe me, feel free to check the surveillance footage. When I said that, Ling Chun's face darkened. Then he simply closed his eyes and fainted on the spot. Inside a VIP hospital room, Lin Yuandong angrily dragged me inside. You, get in here. He pointed to Ling Chun, comfortably lying in the hospital bed. My dad shouted angrily, look at your brother. Look what you've done to him. My shoulder hurt from his grip. I could clearly feel. My dad was truly angry. Honestly, when the whole class laughed at me for being ugly, I didn't feel that upset. But in this moment, my heart ached so badly. I said I didn't push him. He fell on his own. Ling Chun choked up and said, if you didn't push me, then what? I hurt myself on purpose. Why would I do that? Dad glared at me angrily. Your brother has always been timid. Not like you, so reckless. From the day I brought your brother into our home, I knew you never liked him. You've been scheming to hurt him all along. What is your heart even made of? He's your brother. Lin Yuandong roared. He coughed violently as he shouted. Suddenly, the door to the hospital room burst open. Yang Hui rushed in. Looking worried, she said, baby, are you all right? Where did you get hurt? Let mommy take a look. Ling Chun instantly squeezed out a few tears. Yang Hui turned her head. Even with makeup, she couldn't hide that sharp, bitter expression. You again, Lin Haoyu. You dared push my son down the stairs. Do you have a death wish? Today, I'm going to beat you to death. I clenched my fist and looked at her defiantly. Just try hitting me once, and I'll pay you back tenfold. Yang Hui turned to Lin Yuandong and wailed, husband, look at this precious son you and your ex-wife raised. Is he trying to drive me and our son to death? We're packing up and leaving the Lin family right now. Lin Yuandong looked around the room. Then he grabbed a decoration from the bedside and threw it straight at me. While throwing, he cursed, still talking back, huh? Look what you've done to your brother. And now you're upsetting your aunt too. How did I end up with such a disgrace of a son? As he spoke, he picked up another item and swung it at me. It hit me and hurt a lot, but I stubbornly refused to dodge. I lowered my head and clenched my fists tightly. I knew very well that tears were useless. But in this moment, I just couldn't hold them back. Before I could cry first, Yang, Hui, and Ling Chun acted as if they'd been terribly wronged. Mother and son holding their heads, crying in pain. Lin Yuandong grabbed my arm and shoved me forward. You think staying silent makes you innocent. On the surface, Ling Chun was crying in pain. But inside, he was secretly laughing. He hid behind Lin Yuandong and flashed me a taunting smile. I trembled with rage. Lin Yuandong followed my gaze and turned to look. Ling Chun instantly wiped away his smirk and started crying even harder. Seeing how heartbroken Ling Chun was, Lin Yuandong looked away. He glared at me. What are you pointing at? You have the nerve to point at your brother? Are you trying to push him down the stairs again right in front of me? Lin Haoyu, I'm so disappointed in you. Apologize to your brother right now. I smiled and said firmly, I did nothing wrong. Why should I apologize? Lin Yuandong glared at me. You just wait. Today I'll beat you until you give in. As he spoke, he raised the ornament to strike again. Just then, the door to the hospital room was suddenly pushed open. Lin Yuandong paused mid-swing. He turned his head to look. A group of bodyguards stood at the door. They were all dressed in black uniforms, neat and orderly. Lin Yuandong panicked slightly, but quickly scowled and shouted, Who are you people? This is my son's hospital room. Get out right now. The lead bodyguard glanced at me, and after confirming, gestured to the others behind him. The bodyguards stormed in all at once and began smashing everything in the room. Yang Hui's face turned pale. She held her son and screamed loudly. They've gone mad, all of them. Where did you bandits come from? I'm calling the police. A bodyguard snatched the ornament that Lin Yuandong was about to hit me with. He threw it forcefully. The chair flew past Ling Chun's face. Ling Chun's face turned pale instantly. He froze in place. A light scratch appeared on his cheek. He was bleeding. Everything happened so suddenly. It was overwhelming. Lin Yuandong snapped out of it and rushed to the hospital bed. Zhao Chun, are you okay? Ling Chun screamed in panic, Dad. Who are they? Did they ruin my face? My face. This time, he wasn't pretending to be cool anymore. I was stunned too. What the hell is going on? Where did these bodyguards even come from? Could they be enemies of Jiang Yuandong? But strangely, the bodyguards didn't seem hostile toward me. In fact, one of them even brought me a chair. Mr. Haoyu, please have a seat, as if they were inviting me to enjoy the show. I was completely confused. What exactly is going on here? Lin Yuandong shouted angrily. Who the hell are you people? My son's face is injured because of you. He's a celebrity. He might get called for work at any time. If his face is hurt, can you take responsibility? Yang Hui also shouted at the top of her lungs. Do you have any idea how much my son earns for a single appearance? I'm calling the police right now. Nobody leaves. All of you, stay and pay for this. The lead bodyguard, wearing a Bluetooth earpiece, walked to the window. He calmly repeated what they had just said. Miss, the target said Ling Chun is a celebrity. One appearance earns tens of thousands. Luo Family Villa. A noble-looking girl sat gracefully on the sofa. Keep hitting. Don't stop until you've broken 1 million worth. The bodyguard responded with a grunt. He turned and signaled to several others. Do it. Ling Chun recoiled in fear. It was obvious these bodyguards were coming for him. What are you trying to do? Mom, call the police now. But before he could finish, Ling Chun was slapped hard across the face. It burned like fire. Lin Yuandong and Yang Hui tried to rush forward, but were blocked completely by layers of guards. Lin Yuandong shouted in panic. Do you know who I am? How dare you lay a hand on my son? Yang Hui also started to panic. He's lived over 30 years. and never experienced anything like today. In the middle of the night, holding his face, completely in disbelief. You dare hit me? Another slap. The bodyguard looked serious, as if it were just routine procedure. The sound of slaps echoed through the hospital room. Watching him get slapped again and again, my heart ached for him. Yang Hui anxiously pointed at me. If you're enemies of our Lin family, please don't hit my son. Hit him instead. He's also my husband's son. Go ahead and hit him. Do whatever you want. Lin Yuandong clenched his teeth. Lin Shan is crucial to the future of the company. Nothing must happen to him. Thinking this, Lin Yuandong quickly nodded. Yes, yes. Go hit Lin Haoyu. Go hit him. I was stunned. Then I laughed bitterly at myself, then turned and ran out without looking back. The lead bodyguard chased after me. Watching my back, he said into his earpiece, Mr. Haoyu seems to have run off, heartbroken. Got it, Luo Qingli replied calmly. The bodyguard asked, should I bring him back to the estate? He really seems upset. Luo Linger had her little head pressed up against the phone. Wenyan nodded quickly. Yes, yes, but Luo Qingli just curled her lips slightly and said the words, don't bother. Luo Linger was stunned. Why not? Big sis, didn't you hear how you's really upset? Luo Qingli turned off her phone. Her expression didn't change much. No reason. This time I helped him. Only because you begged me so hard. The sky was overcast. Dark clouds were rolling in from afar. People on the street were walking faster and faster. Everyone was rushing to get home. I walked aimlessly through the streets alone. The neon lights around me gradually lit up. Go hit Lin Haoyu then. He's also my son. That sentence felt like a curse, lingering in my ears. Why did I long so much for father's love? Like some kind of beggar, desperately hoping for just a little care from Lin Yuandong. Rain started pouring down. A boy about my age rushed by with a backpack, talking on the phone as he hurried along. Dad, I know there's a typhoon. I'm heading home now. No need to worry. You and Mom. No need to come pick me up. I'm already at the subway entrance. I stood in the rain, staring straight at that boy. On a stormy evening like this, with the typhoon howling, no one cared whether I was okay. Even less would they care if I lived or died. Meanwhile, Luo Linger was lounging on the sofa playing on her iPad. Hearing the typhoon was approaching, she immediately looked up with sparkling eyes, her little face full of worry. Sis, do you think Big Brother made it home yet? Luo Qingli's eyes were locked onto the TV. On the screen, the reporter braved the wind, his face nearly distorted by the gust, as he diligently reported live from some street. Luo Linger waved her little hand in front of Luo Qingli's face. Sis, who would still be outside in weather like this? Even an idiot would take cover. As she spoke, Luo Qingli reached to change the channel, but the next second, a familiar silhouette appeared behind the reporter. Luo Qingli narrowed her cold eyes. Luo Linger pointed at the TV in shock. Was that Big Brother Haoyu just now? Luo Qingli coldly turned off the TV, then got up. Linger immediately panicked. Why do you turn it off? Was that really him or not? He's out there all alone, it's dangerous. Sis, are you going to pick him up? Luo Qingli glanced sideways at her sister. I already said, my kindness toward him ends here. That idiot who doesn't even care about himself. He deserves to be blown away by the wind. She threw the remote. Luo Qingli kept a cold expression. As she went upstairs, Luo Linger was beside herself. What do we do? Big Brother Haoyu is in danger. She was already thinking about calling the Luo family driver to see if they could go pick him up. But who knew Luo Qingli would come back down less than 5 minutes after going upstairs? Her face still cold. She was holding a car key in her hand. Big sis, Luo Linger's eyes lit up. You're going to pick up Big Brother? Luo Qingli gritted her teeth. I'm just going out for a walk. Who said I'm picking him up? Meanwhile, I was sitting on the steps of a shopping mall by the road. A place that could barely shield me from the wind and rain. My home was far from the city center. The only subway line that led there had shut down due to the typhoon. Lin family's estate was in a luxury neighborhood nearby, but unfortunately for the past 5 years, that place hadn't been my home. Not anymore. Right now, I felt like I had been abandoned by the entire world. Suddenly, a red sports car screeched to a stop, pulling up right in front of me. The window rolled down, revealing an unbelievably beautiful face. "Get in," Luo Qingli said, eyes looking forward. Her voice was cool and reserved. I looked up, completely surprised. "What are you doing here?" Luo Qingli didn't flinch. "Just passing by." She turned slightly. Finally, she was willing to look directly at me. "Lin Haoyu, you sure are in the mood to enjoy yourself. Can't you tell a typhoon is coming? Are you waiting for the rain to stop? Or do you want to wait until the typhoon hits and become a literal corpse?" I jumped up in anger. "I can wait here if I want, none of your business. Even if I turn into a corpse, it has nothing to do with you." Luo Qingli's pretty face instantly turned cold. "Who do you think you're talking to? I'll ask you one last time. Are you getting in the car or not?" What I hated the most was Luo Qingli's condescending tone. As if no matter what she did for me, I had to be endlessly grateful. "Miss High and Mighty Luo, please, just let me turn into a corpse right here, okay? After all, in this world, nobody cares whether I live or die. The weather's bad. I suggest you don't waste your time on me." A sudden cold gust blew by. My body trembled from the chill, so I sheepishly muttered, "Well, actually, I think living is still kinda nice. Thanks, Miss Luo." Seeing me finally give in, Luo Qingli's expression softened a little. She reached over, pulled out a pack of tissues, and tossed it to me. "Wipe your face." I looked at her gratefully. "Thanks." Didn't expect this little devil to have such a thoughtful side. But then, Luo Qingli casually added with her usual cold tone, "Don't dirty my car." Ooh, I should have known not to expect anything from a cold-blooded Sundar. On the way back, Luo Qingli recounted everything that had happened in the hospital. Normally, someone would be emotionally devastated by all that. But the boy in front of her, not even a single tear on his face. He even looked a bit happy. Luo Qingli's voice softened for once. "Hey, Lin Haoyu, it's okay to cry. You don't have to hold it in." I stared, completely stunned by this breathtaking girl. Totally frozen in place, because all my life, everyone had told me the same thing. Boys shouldn't cry. Crying doesn't solve anything. That's why I rarely cry. Someone I've only known for a few days actually gave me the only warmth on such a stormy night. It felt like all the grievances I had today suddenly overflowed in this very second. My eyes started to sting. But I didn't cry. After pulling myself together, I turned to look at her. A smile appeared in the darkness. "Luo Qingli, thank you." She looked puzzled. "What are you smiling at?" I smiled sincerely and said, "Thank you for caring about me." Luo Qingli sneered. "Lin Haoyu, you're the most self-deluded person I've ever met." My smile started to crack a little. I pretended not to hear the sarcasm in her words. Still smiling brightly, "But you clearly could have just left me. Gone off on your own, right? But you didn't, did you?" Luo Qingli let out a cold snort. "I just happened to save a life. That's all. I've always been the type to do good deeds." Soon, Luo Qingli drove into the Luo family's villa. She glanced at Butler Li, then headed upstairs. Butler Li understood immediately. He gestured toward me. "Mr. Lin, please follow me." I walked behind him, and we arrived at a luxurious room. So much had happened that day. I collapsed onto the bed and fell asleep instantly. Early the next morning, I woke up yawning widely, in a room full of elegance and grandeur. My eyes opened wide in shock. I looked around the room, finally accepting that I had spent the night in the Luo family's villa. I checked the time. It was already 6:30. If I didn't hurry, I wouldn't have time to make breakfast for Luo Linger. I quickly jumped out of bed. Half an hour later, I walked out of the kitchen with a completed kid's meal. Just as I brought it up, I saw that Luo Linger had somehow already gotten up. She was sitting at the dining table, looking sweet and well-behaved. When she saw me walk out, she gave me a big bright smile, showing off her tiny white teeth. I was a bit surprised. Linger, why are you up so early? Because I could feel Big Brother's food calling me. Luo Linger, am like a little kitty, waiting to be fed. She happily patted the table with both hands. Her cuteness made me laugh. I walked over and gently patted her little head. Luo Linger looked a bit embarrassed. Last night I wanted to wait for Big Brother to come back, but I ended up falling asleep. Oh, is that so? By the way, how did you know I came back? I asked without thinking. Luo Linger was munching on her breakfast, mumbling as she spoke. Well, it's all because of the typhoon yesterday. My sister, she. What about me? A cold, elegant voice rang out. Luo Qingli had come downstairs at some point, looking at Luo Linger, with eyes full of fake kindness. Luo Linger immediately straightened her little face. Sis, you looked beautiful yesterday. Today, you're even more beautiful. Luo Qingli smiled with satisfaction and patted Luo Linger on the head. At the usual time, the house staff entered the kitchen, only to find both young ladies of the house already awake. The Luo family's breakfast time was normally fixed, but today, everyone was up half an hour early. Miss, why? We'll start preparing breakfast right away. Luo Qingli pulled out a chair and sat down gracefully. No need. The maid looked puzzled. Do you mean breakfast is already ready? As she spoke, her deep, beautiful gaze shifted toward me. I looked down at the sandwich I had casually made for myself. While preparing Luo Linger's breakfast, I quickly tried to hide it behind my back. No way. This one's mine. Ask your maid to make something for you. Are you giving it or not? Luo Qingli looked at me. Her gaze was full of threat, as if me eating her food was a great favor, like I should be eternally grateful for the gesture. I wanted to cry but had no tears. Reluctantly, I handed it over to him. I looked at Luo Qing longingly. Li was eating her sandwich and drinking milk. Then she slowly commented, "It's bland. Pay attention next time." I forced a smile. You could just choose not to eat it. Luo Qingli was indifferent. The school had something urgent today. I have to leave half an hour early. Otherwise, do you think I really want to eat this kind of food you made? Just then, the housekeeper came up. Miss Su Chin is here, miss. Hearing that familiar name, I turned around to look, surprised to see the girl walking this way. When she saw me, Su Chin clearly froze for a second. Then she smiled gently. Lin, what are you doing here? Before I could reply, Luo Qingli suddenly interrupted. He's our new servant at home. I protested, hey. What do you mean servant? I'm just here to take care of Luo Ling. For a month, that's all. Take care of Luo Linger? Su Chin turned her gaze to Luo Linger, who was happily enjoying breakfast, thinking of everything that had happened these days. She immediately understood. She smiled lightly. The world is really small. She sat opposite Luo Qingli. Su Chin looked at me standing on the side. Not sitting, Luo Qingli sat there arrogantly. She lifted her noble eyelids and glanced at me. A servant should know their place. Why sit? Unlike Luo Qingli's spoiled arrogance, Su Chin was truly gentle and refined. Her voice was like cherry blossoms in spring, soft and warm. She floated with an ink-like grace. Qingli, don't bully Lin. Now that's what you call an angelic girl. Then look at Luo Qingli sitting opposite Su Chin. She's practically a devil. Both are beautiful. How can the difference be this big? I put on a smile and looked at her. Su Chin, you're really a kind person. Some people compared to you are just worlds apart. Luo Qingli shot me a cold glance. Lin Haoyu, do you have a death wish? Su Chin cleared her throat and said seriously, there's still a lot going on at school today. We should get going. It's about a 20-minute drive from here to school, and there's no public transport nearby. I didn't dare expect Luo Qingli to be so kind as to give me a ride. I nudged Su Chin's arm. Su Chin, do you mind giving me a lift? Su Chin smiled. Of course you can. The Su family's villa is very close to the Luo family's. They're both in the same estate. Two luxury cars were parked one behind the other at the gate. Luo Qingli, with a blank face, opened the driver's side door and got in. From the rearview mirror, she saw me chatting and laughing. I happily got in Sukin's car. Luo Qingli frowned. Is he that happy? Why not just die laughing? That idiotic look of his is such an eyesore. Luo Qingli silently looked away. She shifted gears, then slammed the gas pedal down. With a roar, the car shot forward like an arrow from a bow and vanished in an instant. The sudden acceleration startled me. I looked up, watching Luo Qingli's car already speeding away. Driving that fast. Is he crazy? The Su family driver started the car. Suchin and I got into the back seat. It felt like sunlight poured into the entire car. Everything around felt warm. My stomach cooperated by growling loudly. Suchin froze for a moment, then gently clenched her fist and smiled softly with her lips closed. I quickly explained. I didn't have time for breakfast this morning. Suchin asked curiously. Why didn't you eat? I replied gloomily. I made a sandwich. But Luo Qingli snatched it away. I looked at Suchin with sympathy. Suchin, having a friend like Luo Qingli must be really tough for you. Suchin smiled and shook her head. Not at all. Once you get to know him, you'll find he has many admirable traits. Truly admirable. I pouted, like his sharp tongue. That's about the only admirable trait I've seen. Not much else, really. Suchin laughed again at my comment. While chatting, we had already left the estate and entered the busy city streets. Not long after, Suchin asked the driver to pull over by the roadside, then turned to me and said, Wait for me a moment. After saying that, she got out of the car. I nodded. We left early today anyway, so there's no need to worry about being late. Before long, Suchin came back, holding a paper bag in her hand. She handed it to me with a bright smile. Here for you. I took it in surprise. Is this breakfast? Bought it for you. I was overjoyed. Opened the paper bag and saw a warm hamburger and some soy milk. Suchin, you're really such a kind person. Suchin smiled gently. If you don't mind, just call me Suchin. I smiled back. All right. Thank you, Suchin. Not long after, we arrived at school. As soon as I walked into the classroom, I saw Lincoln, surrounded by classmates. He fell down the stairs yesterday and blamed it on me. Said I pushed him. Now the whole class sees me as the villain. Boys and girls alike. They were all standing by Lincoln's side. The moment I walked in, everyone stared daggers at me. Lin Haoyu, how dare you even come to school? Exactly. Look what you did to Lincoln. His face is all swollen. He's a celebrity, you know. He relies on his looks to make a living. Not like you, an ugly nobody. I placed my backpack on the desk and said lightly, no wonder after all these years, he's still just a no-name D-list celebrity. No real talent, after all. Hearing that, Lincoln glared at me in anger. I had clearly hit a sore spot. 5 years ago, Lin Haoyu was only a little over 10 years old, and he was already famous across the country. But Lincoln, after struggling all these years, he's still just a small-time actor. Even with Lin Haoyu's disfigurement and blacklist, Lincoln still can't make a name for himself. Classmates immediately jumped to Lincoln's defense, glaring at me. How can you be so heartless? Never seen anyone as shameless as you. The girls in class were especially outraged. On behalf of their idol, at least Lincoln is good-looking. Even if he's not super famous yet, he's still definitely not someone an ugly freak like you can mock. If you're so capable, try becoming a star yourself. You probably couldn't even make it to D-list. I shrugged. Is that so? I know exactly what I look like. As for the future, who knows? I just hope you won't be slapped in the face one day. Lincoln glared at me with hatred. He didn't understand what I was so smug about. A disfigured, ugly freak. Lin Haoyu, do you really think, looking like that, you can still compete with me? Lincoln, don't stoop to that freak's level. We all support you. Exactly. I firmly believe our class heartthrob will make it big one day. By then, the one who will be humiliated is that freak. Speaking of which, why didn't you just rest a few more days at home? Lincoln snapped out of it. He touched his swollen face. Yesterday, out of nowhere, he was suddenly slapped repeatedly by a group of men in black. He had never suffered such humiliation before, and honestly, he didn't even want to come to school. It totally ruined his image. But today was the drama club's audition day at school. He had no choice but to come. The drama club at Jingcheng One High was a shortcut to becoming a star. Many students dreamed of joining it. Even famous directors in the entertainment industry often came to the drama club to scout for suitable actors. And most importantly, the club president was the hugely popular idol, Shen Wanting. Such a dazzling star was actually the president of the drama club. As long as he could join the drama club, why would he ever need to worry about not becoming famous? Lincoln secretly made up his mind. He must get into the drama club. And one day, he would become the hottest idol out there. And slap Lin Haoyu in the face was success. The first class was chemistry. I was busy writing out equations when suddenly my phone started vibrating like crazy. I snuck a glance at the teacher, then quickly pulled out my phone. It was a message from the group admin. There were only 3 people in the group, and Yi Chang was going crazy in the group chat. Haoyu, hurry up and come out. Where are you? I twitched my lips, quickly replied, here, I'm in class. Bro, you think I'm a broad like you? And Yi Chang replied instantly, big news. This afternoon, the drama club at Jingcheng One High is holding auditions. Don't forget to go. I replied immediately. You mean you want me to go to the audition with this scary face? To join the drama club? And Yi Chang sent a little emoji. Why are you so short-sighted? Where's your vision? They only hold auditions once a year. In 3 months, you'll recover your original looks, right? Once you're back to normal, you'll easily take over the whole club. And besides, your idiot brother, he definitely won't let this opportunity slip either. He's dreaming of using the drama club to make a name for himself. So go. Teach him a lesson. I hesitated for a moment, but with my current face, I really didn't feel confident. And Yi Chang continued, what are you afraid of? Did you forget your real talent? In the end, I still went. The drama club was located in the western campus of Jingcheng One High. There were many clubs here, but the drama club was by far the most popular. One reason, seeing a real star, Shen Wanting, for example. Another reason, everyone fantasizes. What if I actually become a star? Wouldn't that be amazing? Just then, chattering voices sounded from nearby. So many people, but only 3 will be selected. The competition is intense. Don't worry, Lincoln will definitely make it. He's already an actor, after all. Lincoln said proudly. Of course I will. I've got plenty of confidence. I turned my head to look. Sure enough, I saw Lincoln and his friends. Our eyes met in the air. Lincoln was briefly stunned. He clearly didn't expect me to show up too. Am I seeing this right? Even ugly freaks want to be famous nowadays. The one who said that was Lincoln's buddy, Liu. He looked at me with pure contempt, his face full of mockery. Lin Haoyu, can't you have a little self-awareness? Lincoln and I auditioning is fine. At least we're handsome. But you, who even are you? If you actually get selected, I'll live stream myself eating a keyboard. Lincoln also laughed secretly. I'm into. Their conversation was overheard by the people around us. Everyone burst into laughter. With a face like that, you dare come audition? Where did this confidence come from? Not even embarrassed, the crowd's attention was successfully directed toward me. Lincoln and Liu were extremely pleased. They exchanged a smug glance, grinning with schadenfreude. I just shrugged indifferently, the corners of my mouth slightly lifted. Is that so? Then let's wait and see. At that moment, a wave of screaming erupted in the crowd. Instantly, everyone stopped mocking me and started pushing forward. A beautiful girl stood by the railing above, smiling happily at the crowd below, waving her hands excitedly. Her voice was clear and sweet. Thank you all for your support of our drama club. I can feel all your enthusiasm. Next, please don't push. Line up in order and wait for your turn to audition. Good luck to everyone. I'll be waiting for you in the final round of interviews. As she spoke, she even blew a kiss to the crowd. All the love-struck fans below went wild, snapping photos, shouting at the top of their lungs, "Goddess, I love you." Shen Wanning, look over here. What do I do? I'm so torn right now. Which of the school's top 3 beauties should I choose? I support Luo the campus beauty, Gao Lu and Su the campus beauty. Shen the gentle goddess is amazing too. I feel like I'm going to die. I covered my ears in despair. Is this an audition? Or a fan meeting? These love-struck screams are about to make me deaf. Helplessly, I pushed through the crowd, taking advantage of their distraction. I stepped forward first and handed my registration form to the drama club. A tall club member stood at the entrance. He looked up at me, and his jaw nearly dropped. You're not qualified to audition. Hurry up and leave. How can someone this ugly even dare to come? I was speechless. Why not? He gave me a sideways glance. Come on. Have you even looked at yourself? You think our drama club just lets anyone in? Go away, go away. I was a bit annoyed. I pulled out my student ID and seriously said, I'm a student from St. Sia Academy. First, the drama club has no rule that ugly people can't join. Second, put away your bias. What era are we even in? After saying that, I stared straight at him, unafraid. The club member was shocked by my attitude. He was momentarily speechless. He took a step back. Fine, go in. You don't know your limits. Even if I let you in, you'll never get selected anyway. I couldn't be bothered. I simply snatched my registration form back from his hand and walked straight in. Their contempt didn't matter to me at all. Inside the evaluation classroom, it was completely quiet. Everyone was frowning and struggling over questions. I stood up after just 5 minutes, walked to the front and handed in my paper. The girl proctor looked at me in shock. You're done. I nodded. What should I do next? The girl was stunned. These test questions weren't super hard, but definitely not something you can finish so easily in just 5 minutes, okay? She adjusted her glasses. Go wait in the main hall. Lincoln and Yu were also in the same test room. Lincoln whispered to his sister. No way it was that quick. He must have cheated. Or just guessed blindly. I yawned, bored as I waited outside for a long time. Eventually, people started handing in their papers and walking out. As soon as Lincoln came out, he mocked me. Lin Haoyu, stop pretending to be so great. You think just because they're multiple choice questions, you can randomly guess and pass? Ridiculous. Liu added, you think you're a genius or something. Everyone else took 30 minutes to finish, but you just had to show off. Just wait until the results are out. You're going to embarrass yourself. I didn't respond, because I couldn't be bothered arguing with idiots. About half an hour later, the results for the written test were posted. They selected the top 20 based on scores. Those whose names are called line up here. Lincoln, Zhang Ningmeng. Sunfire. Lincoln and Yu looked at me smugly and gloated. Bye, we're heading in first. No way you're getting through. Name after name was called out. Until the end mine still wasn't called. Lincoln raised his eyebrows at me smugly, his face full of provocation. See, I told you he'd get eliminated. Liu waved a sarcastic goodbye gesture at me. Both of them were clearly enjoying my failure. But just then, another girl rushed up. Wait. We forgot to call one name earlier. Lin Haoyu. He passed with a perfect score. The room fell silent for 2 seconds in contempt. As if a stone had stirred up 1,000 waves, an incredible outcry erupted instantly. Oh my god, Lin Haoyu got a perfect score. Ling Chun and Yu were completely stunned. How is that possible? Lin Haoyu only used 5 minutes to complete a perfect test. Is he a monster? I yawned again. Just as I expected. But I already announced the top 20 names. That means we have to eliminate the student who was just in last place. The staff member checked the list while speaking, then looked up apologetically at Liu. Sorry, you've been eliminated. Liu trembled with rage. What? How could this happen? He glared at me viciously. I slowly walked up to him. and unceremoniously pushed Liu Yu out of the line. I waved my little hand, mimicking Liu Yu's gesture just now. I also gave him a cheeky goodbye gesture. Oops, sorry, I accidentally got you eliminated. Liu Yu was furious beyond belief, although Ling Chun wasn't eliminated. Watching me act so smug made him just as angry, his nose nearly twisted. This was nothing like he had imagined. The staff began clearing the venue. Those eliminated in the first round, please leave on your own. Liu Yu couldn't believe it. Ling Chun still refused to believe I was safe. There will be more chances in the future anyway. Liu Yu glared at me viciously as he spoke. Lin Haoyu, I won't forget you. You think passing the written test is impressive. You're just an ugly freak with a disgusting face. You'll definitely be eliminated in the interview. I'm waiting to see it. With nothing more to say, he left in frustration. Elsewhere, in the student council president's office, Shen Wanting was lying on the sofa, without a care for her image, watching an American TV show on her tablet, laughing so hard she clutched her stomach. Suddenly, the phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID, then answered the call. As soon as the call connected, she burst into laughter. Luo Qingli, your call came at the perfect time. I want to recommend you a hilarious sitcom. It's called Ha Ha. It's killing me. My stomach hurts. While Shen Wanting laughed uncontrollably. Luo Qingli remained expressionless on the other end. What's so funny? I have something to tell you. Hearing that, Shen Wanting looked confused. You called me, what's up? You want to challenge me? There was a brief silence on the other end. Luo Qingli cleared her throat slightly. In a calm tone, there's someone named Lin Haoyu. He signed up for your drama club. How is he doing? I don't know. We just finished the written test. It's not my turn to interview him yet. Wait, who is Lin Haoyu? Why do you care so much about him? Luo Qingli kept a cold face. Which eye of yours saw me caring? Shen Wanting laughed, not caring. You even called me specially. Last time I was filming, I nearly broke my leg. You didn't even bother to call me once. Fine, just pretend I never called. Luo Qingli said as she was about to hang up. Wait, now you've totally confused me. Do you want me to give that Lin Haoyu girl some special treatment? Luo Qingli paused again, slightly curled her lips. Up to you, and hung up the phone. Shen Wanting was left dumbfounded. What does up to you even mean? Can someone tell her? What exactly does Luo Qingli mean? Half an hour later, inside a performance room, someone burst in with great urgency, immediately quieting the once noisy room. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Shen Wanting walked in with a bright smile. We'll begin the interviews right away. Watching Shen Wanting walked cheerfully to the center seat. Everyone around quietly buzzed with excitement. She's someone they usually only see on TV, a popular celebrity. And now she was standing right in front of them. How could they not be excited? The energy was intense. The volume. She turned and handed a stack of papers to her assistant. Distribute these. The materials were passed out one by one. I picked mine up to take a look. It turned out to be a script. It was filled with dense lines of dialogue. From the content of the lines, it seemed to be a historical drama. Now, each of you has a different script in hand. The interview is simple. You have 5 minutes to memorize your lines. Feel the characters' emotions. After 5 minutes, everyone here will pair up in groups of 2 and perform their lines against each other. No prompting is allowed during the performance. Whoever stops first will be eliminated. Once she said that, everyone started to panic. Memorize all these lines in just 5 minutes? How is that even possible? Hopefully I get a weaker partner. Please, Buddha. Some people started praying earnestly. Ling Chun looked at his script with great confidence. He had always been the top student in language class. Memorizing things was a breeze for him. With that thought, he turned to me and raised an eyebrow. Lin Haoyu, how about we team up and go head to head? Do you dare to compete with me? I shrugged, doesn't matter to me. At that moment, Shen Wanting raised her hand, everyone ready. Then the 5-minute countdown starts now. The rehearsal room instantly fell into silence. Everyone was nervously memorizing their lines. Shen Wanting turned to the vice president beside her and whispered, "Who is Lin Haoyu?" "The guy sitting in the very last row." She looked in the direction the vice president pointed. Shen Wanting was surprised. "No way. That guy has nothing to do with the word handsome." Her bestie had kept herself pure for over a decade. She even suspected that Luo Qingli might have feelings for her, but unexpectedly, Luo Qingli actually liked that asterisk type. That's kind of hard to understand. 5 minutes passed quickly. 30 seconds remaining. "Those who are ready, please bring your scripts forward." Ling Chun stood up, confidently handing in his script. When he turned around, he noticed I was still using the final few seconds to focus on memorizing lines. He walked up quickly and suddenly snatched the script out of my hands. I looked at him, a bit speechless. "What are you doing? Didn't you hear? Only seconds left." Ling Chun raised his brows mockingly. "I'm doing you a favor turning it in. And you're complaining. What? Couldn't memorize at all? You really think memorizing lines is that easy? If you've got no talent, don't force yourself. If you're going to lose, just admit it early." Inside, I felt no emotion. In fact, I almost laughed. The showdown officially began. Everyone paired up to perform and recite lines. The room suddenly became lively. The scene was complete chaos, not even 2 minutes in. And people were already getting eliminated. Ling Chun and I faced each other directly. My ugly face hadn't even started disrespecting him yet, and he already carried an air of superiority to intimidate me. He started reciting in fast-forward mode. I raised a brow and sped up my lines too. My pace matched his, maybe even faster. I was slightly ahead. In fact, Ling Chun started to panic. Wasn't he just struggling to memorize earlier? Why does he seem like a completely different person now? What the heck, this is bad. What were the next lines again? His mind suddenly went blank. Ling Chun's face instantly turned pale. His speech began to slow down. He had just been too eager to impress. Crap. He was about to reach the part he forgot. Could it be he was going to lose to that idiot Lin Haoyu? But in the next second, I suddenly paused, as if I got stuck on a line. Ling Chun excitedly turned to the judge nearby. "Look, Lin Haoyu blanked out. He lost." The judge adjusted his glasses. "Excuse me, student, I think you're mistaken." "Mistaken?" Ling Chun frowned in dissatisfaction. "I saw it clearly. He paused just now, didn't he? Can't you tell? What kind of judge are you? Are you trying to rig this on purpose?" Ling Chun's tone became more aggressive. His overbearing attitude really ticked the judge off. "I'm warning you, you better watch your mouth. This rehearsal room is under surveillance." Student Lin here had already finished reciting his entire script. He paused because he was done. "Are you stupid? What do you mean finished? That's impossible." Ling Chun opened and closed his mouth, unable to respond for a while. He had only memorized about 2/3. And Lin Haoyu had already finished. How was that possible? Seeing Ling Chun completely speechless with shock, I smiled. "Oops, sorry, I won again." Ling Chun was so angry he could vomit blood. He had actually lost to Lin Haoyu again. Unwilling to accept it, he forced a sneer. "A drama club needs more than line memorization. Looks matter too, right? Lin Haoyu, have you seen what you look like right now? Even if you get into the drama club looking like that, what could you even play?" I glanced at him and smiled. "What I can act as is none of your concern. The fact is you lost." Ling Chun glared at me viciously. He cursed at me in frustration. By now, the surrounding chatter slowly quieted down. The winner was obvious. Everyone turned to look over. Whispers started. Ling Chun actually lost? That ugly guy is way too cocky. So, what if he won once by luck? What's he showing off for? Poor Ling Chun, to be bullied by someone so ugly. In my mind, I was screaming profanity, but unsure if I should say it. Are these people blind or what? When did I ever bully Ling Chun? Shen Wanting glanced over at me and Ling Chun with amusement, then got up and walked toward us. All right, at this point, The winner is very clear. I've been observing your PK round closely. Now I'll pick 3 people who I think are the most suitable to join the drama club. First, Song Zuer. No one was surprised that Song Zuer made it. Just like Ling Chun, she was a minor figure in the entertainment world, fairly popular online. I glanced at Song Zuer and frowned a little. Second, Jiang Baiqing. This boy named Jiang Baiqing looked like he just won the lottery. And the third one. Shen Wanning looked over at my side. With a dazzling smile, Ling Chun. Welcome to the drama club. What the hell, seriously? Why? I was clearly the one who won. Even Ling Chun didn't expect it. He was completely shocked Shen Wanning picked him. The surprise hit him like a gift from the heavens. He spoke excitedly. Thank you, President Shen. I'll definitely work hard, even though the others didn't make it. But they still flattered Ling Chun. Congrats, Ling Chun. Luckily you made it in. Want to celebrate after school? You better treat us. Ling Chun was smiling so wide he couldn't close his mouth. No problem. My treat. Seeing that, I looked at Shen Wanning, unwilling to accept it. Why? I was the one who clearly won. Shen Wanning, about to leave, turned back with an innocent face. Classmate, I'm really sorry. But I never said. This was a memory competition. The PK round was only for my reference. Winning or losing it doesn't directly affect the final outcome. Shen Wanning shrugged regretfully. Besides, this drama club recruitment actually has a purpose. This summer break, the drama club will be doing a few touring shows. This open recruitment was for a few specific roles in the performance. But we couldn't find any roles that suit your appearance. Shen Wanning acted casual and cheerful on the surface, but was actually very professional. She wouldn't mess around with things like this. I bit my lower lip, feeling like my blood was boiling. Angry and unwilling but helpless. Yeah, it's because I'm stuck with this ugly face. What's the use of having skill? This is a world that judges by appearance. Shen Wanning gave me a regretful glance. Maybe next time, if there's a suitable role, I'll make an exception and let you in. After saying that, she turned and walked away. Ling Chun was so smug. His tail was practically in the air. He looked at me proudly, hugging his bear prop. See that? Even if you memorize fast, what's the damn use? Too bad you're so ugly. You're still too green to go against me. I told you, you'll be under my feet for the rest of your life. People around also started jeering. Exactly. An ugly freak is still an ugly freak. Don't even dream of turning things around. Ugly people should just study more. Stop coming out to embarrass yourself. Exactly. Ling Chun was in an excellent mood, almost over the moon with pride. Come on, everyone. I'm in a great mood today. I'll treat you all to a feast. As he said that, he turned to look at me and spoke word by word. Bye-bye. Loser. I was about to explode with rage, but had barely taken 2 steps when someone suddenly cried out, "Oh my God." It was the stunning school belle, Luo Qingli. Full of excitement, she quickly ditched the crowd and ran over. A year ago, Ling Chun endorsed a small web app developed by Luo Qingli's company. He had once seen Luo Qingli from afar. At that time, he had been drawn to the girl who looked just like a queen. Completely captivated, Ling Chun quickly adjusted his expression and said, "School belle Luo, do you remember me? I'm Ling Chun, from the first year. Actually, a year ago. We already met once at DT Group. Do you remember that? School belle Luo." Luo Qingli just glanced at him and immediately found him annoying. What makes you worth remembering? Ling Chun's face instantly turned awkward. It's okay if you don't remember. We can slowly get to know each other. Luo Qingli looked at him coldly. And where do you get the confidence to think that I would be interested in getting to know you at all? There were gasps all around. Everyone thought, she really is just as rumored, unapproachable, than a guy in the club wearing glasses. Eagerly came running up. Miss Luo, why are you here at our drama club? Luo Qingli's gaze swept lightly over me in the distance, but didn't linger at all. Where is the one named Shen? The glasses-wearing guy quickly replied, our president just left. He left about 5 minutes ago. I can go call him back if you want. I bit my lower lip. I don't know why, but ever since Luo Qingli appeared, I felt even more humiliated. The way I look right now, standing here feels like a total joke. Luo Qingli must think I'm a joke too. Wearing this ugly face. What am I doing applying to a drama club, like a defeated soldier? I turned around and quickly ran out the other door of the drama club. Even though her eyes weren't on me, Luo Qingli caught a glimpse of the fleeing figure in her peripheral vision. The guy with glasses saw that Luo Qingli remained silent, so he cautiously spoke up again. Miss Luo da. Quotes, Luo Qingli started walking away. No need. Ling Chun ran after her, unwilling to give up. Miss Luo, I'm going to have dinner with my friends later, to celebrate me getting into the drama club. Would you like to join us? His group of friends quickly chimed in. Yeah, come celebrate with us, School Bell Luo. If you had come 10 minutes earlier, you would have seen a super exciting PK match. There was this ugly guy named Lin Haoyu, who got totally wrecked by Ling Chun. It was so satisfying to watch. Come celebrate with us, School Bell Luo. Ling Chun is paying. At first, Luo Qingli didn't pause at all. But when she heard my name, she stopped for just a moment. Ling Chun was overjoyed. Miss Luo, will you come with us? Luo Qingli turned back and glanced at him. You said your name is Ling Chun? Ling Chun was thrilled. Luo Qingli gave him a deep, meaningful look. Very well, I'll remember you. After saying that, Luo Qingli walked away without looking back. The people around immediately started buzzing. Oh my god, did you hear what the school bell just said? Something's definitely going on. Good looks really do pay off. Ling Chun felt absolutely delighted inside. Was what the school bell said a sign that she was interested in him? He knew it with his looks. How could the school bell not fall for him? Someday, he would officially become Luo Qingli's boyfriend. He swore it. Meanwhile, I had run outside, feeling all kinds of emotions inside. Losing to Ling Chun made me feel so unwilling to accept it. Damn it, I angrily kicked at the small stones on the ground. Then a cold voice drifted over from the side. Trying to dig a hole here to bury yourself in? Startled, I turned around and saw Luo Qingli leaning lazily against the wall. That gorgeous face looked just as arrogant as ever. I was going to dig a hole and bury you. Luo Qingli smirked faintly. You think I'd fall for your trap? You think I'm as dumb as you? I rolled my eyes. Hey, I'm warning you. I'm in a really bad mood right now. You better not mess with me, or I really will dig a hole and toss you in it. Luo Qingli chuckled lightly. Go ahead, try it. Those few simple words carried a subtle but threatening tone. What the hell? Luo Qingli really is the legendary big bad witch I had been holding in all this frustration. But suddenly, I felt a little intimidated. Lowering my head, I mumbled. If I get mad enough, I'll just dig a hole and bury myself, and then blame it on you. Luo Qingli's lips curled slightly without anyone noticing. Since when did it start? That every time this guy gave in. He always seemed oddly pleased whenever I gave in. He stepped forward, closing in on me one step at a time. I instinctively backed away, until my back hit the tree trunk behind me. There was nowhere left to retreat. I froze. Luo Qingli was standing just centimeters away from me. The spring sunlight was bright and warm. The breeze rustled the leaves, producing a soft whispering sound. Sunlight filtered through the branches, scattering in patches all around. On Luo Qingli's flawless face, it cast a faint halo of golden light. He looked absolutely stunning like this. Luo Qingli looked me straight in the eye and asked softly, "Why are you in a bad mood?" At that moment, I could clearly hear the sound of my heartbeat. It was strong and getting faster and faster. Could Luo Qingli actually be worried about me? Panicking, I raised my hand to touch my nose, but he suddenly grabbed my wrist. He raised an eyebrow. You're nervous. Exposed like that, my face flushed red. Who's nervous? What are you doing? At my words, Luo Qingli leaned in even closer. Lin Haoyu, you're terrible at lying. You didn't really think I was worried about you, did you? Luo Qingli gave a teasing smirk and let go of my wrist. He stood upright and returned to his usual sharp-tongued self. I'm just reminding you. No matter how bad your mood is, don't forget who you are. Lolo is still waiting for you to take care of him. I nodded and said, okay. I got it. Hearing that, Luo Qingli turned and walked away without another word. Then looked back and said, aren't you coming? Want me to carry you back? I pouted and chased after him, looking down at my wrist. The one Luo Qingli had grabbed just moments ago. I didn't know why, but the place he touched felt warm. And the warmth seemed to spread to my cheeks. This was the first time I had ever been this close to a girl. My heart was racing. I must be going crazy. Just as we drove into the Luo family villa's yard, Luo Qingli's phone rang. He glanced at the screen and ordered me, you go in first. I unbuckled my seatbelt, opened the car door, and got out. Hello, Qingli dearest. A cutesy voice came from the other end of the call. Guess who I am? Shen Wanting. You think I don't have caller ID or something? Why are you always so serious? Luo Qingli replied coldly. If you have something to say, say it. If not, I'm hanging up. Hearing that, Shen Wanting quickly said, don't hang up. I do have something. I just heard from my agent that you're the main investor in my next drama. So I figured I should give you a call to reminisce about our many years of sisterly love. Please invest a little more. I know money is the one thing you've got plenty of. The amount invested would greatly affect Shen Wanting's meals and all kinds of other things during the filming. Shen Wanting was very serious about it, but upon hearing that, Luo Qingli coldly said the words, I'm pulling out. Shen Wanting was stunned. Pulling out? Luo Qingli, aren't you still my bestie? Luo Qingli replied indifferently, you're heartless, shameless, and unreasonable. When you come to your senses, call me again. And with that, she hung up. At that moment, Shen Wanting was biting her finger, trying hard to figure it out. What did I do to offend Luo Qingli this time? Back at the Luo Villa, I walked inside and found Luo Linger sitting on the couch playing a game. Linger, what are you playing? Luo Linger looked up with a little angel smile and said, Big brother, while lifting the tablet. I leaned in to take a look and saw the words winner winner chicken dinner on the screen. You got a chicken dinner. You won? My jaw practically hit the floor. A 6-year-old kid, winning so easily all the way to the end. I got a chicken dinner, Luo Linger said innocently, raising her hands. I was about to uninstall it. This game is too easy. If I win every match, what's the fun in that? I felt like I'd taken a critical hit straight to the soul. Is Linger a prodigy? She wins every game, and I'm a teenager. But I can't even beat a little kid. Just then, a fluffy little kitten waddled over and rubbed against Luo Linger's side. What a cute kitty. I was overjoyed. Linger, where did this cat come from? Luo Linger picked up the cat and gently held its soft pink paws. Isn't it super cute? It's an American short hair with white. His name is Meow Meow. Big brother, have you seen an anime called Kai Sweet Home Asterisk? Meow Meow is the same breed as Chi. My eyes sparkled instantly. He's so adorable. I couldn't help but go over and scoop Meow Meow up. So cute. Then a cold voice suddenly rang out, unexpectedly from behind me. As expected, matching intelligence levels. Dumb person and dumb cat. A perfect pair. My eye twitched. I clenched my fist and turned around angrily. Luo Qingli. Who are you calling dumb? Whoever understands, understands. Luo Qingli sat down with graceful composure. Crossing his legs, he raised his elegant gaze. Lin Haoyu, I brought you home, not to see you play with a cat. Alright, I'll go make food for Linger. Can I even take a short break? I muttered. I still couldn't resist rubbing Meow Meow's little kitty head. Only then did I get up and head to the kitchen. These past few days at home, I've been experimenting with making cute and tasty kids' meals. Every day I cook something different for Linger. I don't know why, but seeing her angelic eyes light up gives me a sense of accomplishment. These days, I'm not only coming to the Luo home to care for Linger, but also because my mom's surgery date is coming soon, so I've been really busy lately. I've been on high alert since early morning, and didn't stay long at the Luo house today. I left early. Speaking of the surgery, We started the hospital admission process yesterday. She'd probably be admitted smoothly the day after tomorrow. As long as mom can be hospitalized and undergo the surgery, then everything I endured while living next door will be worth it. It's Saturday today, so no classes. I made a shopping list to buy some hospital necessities for mom. I pushed a small cart through the supermarket. Glancing down at my list, I was reading as I walked. And then suddenly, a girl in a duckbill cap rushed past and accidentally bumped into my arm. She quickly turned her head, sorry, but when she saw my face, she froze completely. I was stunned too. The girl in front of me was Songzuer. That's right. Yesterday, she was one of the 3 people selected for the drama club. She was also my class monitor back in elementary school, back in 6th grade. I thought she was really pretty, and even had a bit of a crush on her for a while. Later, I got famous and became a celebrity. With her good looks, Songzuer was also scouted by a talent agency. She ended up signing with the same entertainment company as me. You could say that Songzuer personally witnessed how I went from being an ordinary elementary school kid, become a national idol, and then summer was ruined by a car accident, turned into this ugly appearance. Got shelved by the company. What a pity. He didn't know I was never disfigured. I was just framed by the company and forced to pretend to be ugly. What a coincidence. Ran into her again. I felt a bit awkward. Songzuer looked me up and down, looking at how ugly I am now. Her tone was a bit perfunctory, wasn't it? You're really down on your luck now. Yesterday at the drama club, I recognized you right away. Because of the company's confidentiality agreement, I held back from exposing your real identity. I smiled a little. Then I should thank you. Songzuer waved her hand, frowning slightly. She distanced herself from me. No need to thank me. I just hope that at school you'll also pretend not to know me. After all, your current look is just too ugly. And me, I'm already someone with real status now. If rumors spread that I'm associated with an ugly freak like you, it won't look good for me. Understand? Winyin, I felt a bit awkward. I used to naively think Songzuer was a good person. I remember when I was really popular that year. Songzuer used to curry favor with me all the time. But now, hearing these words, my impression of this former class monitor dropped to rock bottom. Really no need for your reminder. I'll keep my distance from you on my own. Besides, I don't care to be involved in any rumors with you. Don't flatter yourself too much. Thanks. After saying that, I pushed the cart around her and walked away. Songzuer clearly didn't expect my attitude to be so good. Could it be that even now, she still sees herself as a popular celebrity? Why are you pretending? Thinking about this scene, there's a hint of arrogance in your tone, Lin. Have you forgotten that in elementary school, you used to have a crush on me? Isn't it said that a boy's first love is unforgettable? You're acting indifferent on purpose, just to get my attention, right? I'm seriously speechless. How did I never notice before? That Songzuer is so narcissistic. Unbelievable. Just then, a voice came from nearby. Zuer. It took you this long just to buy hot pot base? Lincoln is already waiting at checkout. It was Liu, Lincoln's best buddy. I was a bit speechless. Why am I so unlucky? Next time I should check the lunar calendar before leaving the house. Songzuer turned around with a bag of hot pot base. Sorry. I ran into an old classmate. Took a while. Old classmate, Liu, turned his gaze to me, who was trying to slip away. He smirked. Hey. Isn't this the ugly weirdo from our school? Zuer, you were classmates with him. That's just sad for you. After speaking, Liu turned to look at Songzuer, a hint of caution in his eyes. By the way, what were you two talking about just now? Songzuer hurried to explain. Don't tell me you're jealous of Lin Haoyu too. Look at his face. Although I heard he did like me in the past, I swear, I never had feelings for him. What? Lin Haoyu used to like you. Upon hearing that, Liu pulled Songzuer behind him, staring at me angrily. I'm warning you. Zuer and I have been neighbors since childhood. We're childhood sweethearts. And also a couple. She's only ever liked me since we were kids. Lin Haoyu, if you try to take her from me, I'll have someone mess you up. I looked at the sky in exasperation. Liu Yu, are you brain damaged? Paranoid much? Who the hell would want your girlfriend? Me. Like her. You think everyone has the same trash taste as you? With such low standards? Hearing this, Songzure was clearly unhappy. Liu Yu rolled up his sleeves beside her, looking like he was about to beat me up, even though it was 1 against 2. I've always had a stubborn streak. And once that kicks in, no one can stop me. I'm talking about you two. One looks down on people like a snob. The other thinks every girl on earth is in love with him. Narcissist. You two are really something. You're practically a perfect match. I'm clapping for you. I'm clapping as I speak. The two idiots across from me got triggered. At first, Songzure was still holding Liu Yu back, but when she heard me, her pride took a hit. Without thinking twice, Songzure immediately came at me. Lin Haoyu, who are you pretending for? Are you saying you never liked me? Who brought me breakfast every morning? Who passed me notes in class? Who did my classroom duties? It wasn't your mom. I smiled. So, what does that prove? No matter what you say, that was in the past. And listen carefully. I already have someone I like. She's 180 times better than you. So, can you just stop clinging to me like rabid dogs? Hearing that, Liu Yu looked all mocking. You've got someone you like. Haha. Then tell us, what girl is better than Arzur? Sounds like sour grapes to me. Liu Yu proudly wrapped his arm around Songzure, like he was showing off on purpose. I wasn't having it either. I spoke up. The girl I like is 10,000 times prettier than Songzure, and she's hilarious. My girlfriend has a perfect body, and she's rich. Not only does her family own a company, she even started her own business at a young age. Money is the last thing she lacks. As I kept talking, I started realizing the details pointed to someone specific. Someone really familiar. Liu Yu and Songzure glanced at each other, then gave me this "are you dumb" kind of look. Lin Haoyu, don't tell me you mean the school beauty Luo. I got carried away and shouted, yeah, it's hurt. I like Luo Qingli. She's 10,000 times better than you. Amitabha. Anyway, Luo Qingli's not here, so I'll just use that cold-faced girl as cover. Alright, I was feeling super pleased with myself, until I caught a glimpse of an unbelievably noble figure. Wait a second, why does that person look so much like Luo? Qingli was standing there from afar, with a cold expression. Even from this far away, you could feel that overpowering aura. Who else could it be but Luo Qingli? I was completely stunned. Someone tell me, am I seeing things? Why would Luo Qingli, someone like her, come to the supermarket? Would a big boss like her shop here herself? Is she trying to be this relatable? Liu Yu and Songzure had no idea that Luo Qingli was standing right behind them. When they heard what I said, the two of them burst into laughter. Oh my god, that's the funniest joke of the century. An ugly freak dares to like our school beauty. I can't take it, I need to laugh this out first. Seriously, how can someone be this delusional? I lowered my head, staring at my toes. What do I do now? I don't even dare to lift my head. My mind was filled with exploding warning signs. Luo Qingli's here. Did she hear what I just said? What do I do? Someone please just stab me. Liu Yu walked up, holding his forearm, looking me up and down, his tone dripping with mockery. Lin Haoyu, what gives you the right to like Luo, the campus flower? A goddess like her. Isn't someone a freak like you could even dream of? You're not even worthy to carry her shoes. I was totally out of it. My fighting spirit had vanished just now. Liu Yu thought I looked like that because he scared me. So he doubled down and added, let me warn you. Miss Luo will be our buddy Lincoln's girlfriend. Ugly freaks like you have no right to compete with Lincoln. Songzure sneered from the side. Exactly. Just now you were so loud, talking like if you liked Luo Qingli, she would like you back or something. Who would like someone as ugly as you? Unless they were blind. Liu Yu looked at me with a mocking expression. If Luo, the school beauty, likes Lin Haoyu, I'll livestream myself eating 100 keyboards. I completely tune out Liu Yu and Songzure. All I could think about was whether I should run away now. Next time I see Luo Qingli, should I just play dumb? I was so flustered. Seeing I didn't speak, Liu Yu got angry. Lin Haoyu, you idiot. I'm talking to you. Are you pretending not to hear me? With that, he raised his arm to slap me. Last time I caused him to lose the student council election, and he let it go. Now, that slap was about to land on my face. Suddenly, someone grabbed Liu Yu's wrist with a tight grip. Following that slender, well-defined hand upward, Liu Yu's eyes widened. And Miss Luo. Why was Luo the school beauty here? Luo Qingli. Her stunning face was covered with a thin layer of frost. Her dark eyes stared at him in total silence. Cold and sharp like ice. What a terrifying gaze. Luo Qingli pushed him away mercilessly. Liu Yu crashed into a nearby shelf. Song Zhu rushed to help him up. She looked upset. But how could she dare say anything to Luo Qingli? She could only force a smile. Why did the school beauty push Liu Yu? Luo Qingli raised her proud chin. Her eyes held a cold disdain for everything. He's too ugly. Hurts my eyes. Is that not allowed? Seeing Liu Yu so angry he couldn't speak. I couldn't help but want to laugh. I held it in, but my shoulders were shaking. Luo Qingli glanced at me. Are you having a seizure or something? She asked. I immediately calmed down. So savage with her words. Why don't you guess? I replied. Luo Qingli's face stayed indifferent. She didn't seem affected at all by my earlier confession. Do you come to this supermarket often? I didn't dare look her in the eyes. Sometimes. This is the biggest supermarket around. Has the most variety too. Hearing that, Luo Qingli continued asking, where can I buy a keyboard? A keyboard? I scanned the area, pointed in a direction and said, should be over there. Liu Yu looked a bit pale. Suddenly, I had a very bad feeling. Luo Qingli crossed her arms. Looking down at Liu Yu. Are you going on your own, or should I have someone take you? Miss Luo, I don't understand what you mean. You don't. Luo Qingli radiated a natural queen-like aura. She sneered. Lin Haoyu is mine. Who the hell are you? To keep bullying him over and over again? Liu Yu took a step back. Unable to say a single word. School beauty, are you crazy? Him. Lin Haoyu. Song Zhu pointed at me in disbelief. An ugly freak like that. He's not even worthy to stand next to you. Miss Luo, you're just lowering your standards. Lin Haoyu, before she could finish. Luo Qingli had already stepped forward and slapped Song Zhu hard across the face. Song Zhu fell straight to the ground, crashing into a display of discounted promotional products behind her. Items scattered all over the floor. A total mess. Song Zhu rubbed her cheek in pain and stood up. But before she could steady herself, another slap landed hard on her face. Luo Qingli was like a demon queen in full control of everything. Her entire presence radiated an overwhelming aura. Ever since this girl mocked Lin Haoyu, saying she used to have a crush on him, Luo Qingli had found her annoying. Song Zhu gasped from the pain. She had no idea why Luo Qingli suddenly came up and hit her. For a moment, her temper flared too. How could you just hit me without even knowing what's going on? It's not like I did anything to you. Why should I get slapped by you for no reason? Why? Luo Qingli acted like she just heard a joke. She sneered, because I'm Luo Qingli. The name Luo Qingli alone represents absolute authority in this town. No one dares mess with her, let alone question her. Song Zhu held her breath, but didn't dare say another word. Meanwhile, Liu Yu glared at me from behind Luo Qingli. Were we wrong? Lin Haoyu is just an ugly freak. Miss Luo, why are you always siding with that ugly guy? At that, Luo Qingli kicked a nearby woven chair straight at Liu Yu, then stared at them with icy eyes. If I ever hear the words ugly freak come out of your mouths again, I promise, I'll make sure you both wish you were dead. If you don't believe me, try it. Liu Yu and Song Zhu flinched. Their arrogance completely disappeared. The two of them shrank together like beaten dogs. Get out of my sight now. Like a devil giving orders, Liu Yu and Song Zhu stood up, helping each other. Song Zhu glared at me while biting her lip. then walked away in tears. I let out a long breath of relief, then turned to look at the elegant girl beside me. Luo Qingli. Thank you. Luo Qingli scoffed in disdain. You think I care about your thanks? Then her stunning face leaned slightly toward me. Lin Haoyu, your taste used to be terrible. I knew. She was talking about me liking Song Zura before. So, you heard all of that? Luo Qingli let out a short laugh. With a voice that loud? I could hear your shouting from 800 meters away. I tried to keep a smile on my face. Actually, I feel like I should explain a bit. You don't have to take what I said seriously. Luo Qingli lowered her eyes and looked at me. Which part? She asked. I looked down nervously and kept pushing my little shopping cart. He was definitely asking on purpose. I meant the stuff I said about liking you. What I said was only to piss off Song Zura and Yu. I would never actually like you. And I won't bother you either. Besides, I really do like someone else now. Luo Qingli crossed her arms and said coldly, Oh really? I'd love to know which unlucky girl got your affection. I rolled my eyes at her speechlessly. Luo Qingli looked so good, but why is her mouth so vicious? Hearing that, she looked even more annoyed. That's how you treat your savior? I couldn't help but laugh a little. Come on, calling yourself my savior is a bit much, don't you think? Lin Haoyu, next time someone kills you in the street, I won't even look your way. Luo Qingli said coldly, then turned and left. I hurriedly pushed my cart to catch up. My tone half playful, half nervous. You're not really mad, are you? You've got such a tiny heart. Luo Qingli's face screamed, get lost. But I still followed her around with a goofy smile. To thank you for standing up for me earlier. I'll make you something delicious. Luo Qingli sneered, who wants that if you've got the time? Why don't you prepare breakfast for the girl you like? Don't be like that. I was planning to help clean your villa today. She kept mocking me coldly. No need. If you've got the energy, go help the girl you like with her chores. I sweat dropped. Then, what do you want me to do? Luo Qingli tilted her head slightly. Her cold eyes glanced sideways at me. Write me a thank you letter. I was dumbfounded. A thank you letter? She's gotta be kidding. Luo Qingli lifted her chin proudly. Her lips moved like giving royal orders. Yes, a thank you letter. Handwritten. And it better come from the heart. Not a word less than 3,000 characters. If it's even one word short, you're dead. My brain short-circuited from Luo Qingli's logic. Where's the thunderclap warning bell? A freaking thank you letter. Should I also bring you a silk banner while I'm at it? I gave an awkward smile. Isn't 3,000 characters a bit much? Luo Qingli's eyes instantly flashed with threat. Or do you want to try writing 5,000? I quickly waved my hands. No, I think 3,000 is just fine. Luo Qingli looked away, looking cool and unbothered. Then it settled. I frowned. What kind of situation is this? Is Luo Qingli sent by heaven to save me? Or to mess with me? Oh right. Why are you even here? I suddenly remembered and asked. Just passing by. Luo Qingli replied flatly, as if worried I might overthink it. She quickly explained further. I had something to do today. Brought Linger out. We passed by, and he was whining for water. Oh, that explains the coincidence. She picked a drink with her slender fingers, then casually tossed it into my shopping cart. Hurry up and go pay already, she said. I looked surprised. You're giving this to me? She shot me a glance. It just happened to land there. Meanwhile, at the inn house, Shen Wanting was angrily slapping her thigh. Suchin, seriously, what is Luo Qingli even thinking? Are we still childhood besties or not? She just pulled her investment like that. Ridiculous. The afternoon sun streamed in through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Suchin sat on the sofa, glancing sideways at Shen Wanting. So, you really don't know why? Shen Wanting clutched her chest in frustration. Come on, not you two. You two. Can you speak in a way that I can actually understand? If I knew the reason, I wouldn't be here asking you. I've been thinking about it all night. Still couldn't figure out how I offended Luo Qingli. I guess it's because I'm prettier than him. He started to get jealous of me. That must be it. Suchin gave a faint smile at Wanting. if you still want to land good roles in the future. That last sentence, you'd better never let Luo Qingli hear it. Shen Wanting played with her sideburns, feeling wronged. Alright. Luo Qingli asterisk is asterisk just a tiny bit prettier than me. But clearly, I'm cuter. We're just on different styles. Suchin no longer played word games with her. When you auditioned for the drama club, was there a guy named Lin Haoyu in the group? Yes, he left quite an impression on me. That guy had a lot of potential. But I just couldn't find a suitable role for him. So I didn't choose him. Shen Wanting's voice grew softer and softer. Suddenly, it was like she realized something. Could it be, like you said, he's someone with a lot of potential? Looks are only temporary. Isn't real talent more important? Your fans like you. Not just because of your looks, lazybones, but more for your acting skills. Suchin gently guided her like a big sister. Her voice was so soft. Luo Qingli said you should think it through before calling him. Do you understand now? Shen Wanting suddenly had an epiphany. She jumped up from the sofa. At that moment, I had just gotten home and got a call from the drama club. It was to inform me to report to the club on Monday. I was so excited. It felt like something lost had been regained. But on the surface, I pretended to be completely calm. Let me think about it. Alright, then we'll wait for your call. After hanging up, I was overjoyed. I don't know why, even with this ugly face of mine, still being recognized like this felt especially fulfilling. But right after hanging up, my phone rang again. It was actually Lincoln. As soon as I picked up, Lincoln's aggressive voice came right through. Lin Haoyu, I heard the drama club made an exception to let you in. And about what happened at the supermarket just now too. You better explain clearly to me. What exactly is your relationship with Miss Luo? Who even are you? Why do I need to explain anything to you? Hearing that, Lincoln was fuming with rage. Don't think I don't know. You only got into the drama club because Campus Belle Luo pulled strings for you. Otherwise, with that ugly mug of yours, you dreaming of getting it on your own, keep dreaming. I froze for a moment. Was that true? Did I really get in the drama club? Because of Luo Qingli? Lincoln shouted furiously. What right do you have to seduce Miss Luo? Go take a look in the mirror, see what kind of trash you are. I'm warning you, she's mine. No matter what tricks you use, Miss Luo will still end up as asterisk my asterisk girlfriend. She's the woman I like, so stay the hell away from her. Or I'll beat you up every time I see you. Beep beep, just as Lincoln was still yelling. A disconnection tone came from the phone. He looked at his phone and saw the call was ended. So angry his nose was crooked, he directly smashed his phone. Hearing the noise, Lin Yuandong and Yang Hui rushed in after knocking. What happened? What happened? Dad, Mom, Lin Haoyu bullied me. Lincoln looked full of grievance. He told them everything that happened today in the supermarket. How Liu Yu was publicly humiliated by Miss Luo. Lin Haoyu definitely did it on purpose. He clearly knows I like Luo Xiaohua. Why would he talk to her? What right does he have? Yang Hui started cursing right away after hearing that. Lin Yuandong's face looked complicated after hearing it. Feeling frustrated, Yang Hui pushed him and said, say something. Lincoln's been bullied by Lin Haoyu like this. And you don't plan to speak up? Lin Yuandong sighed. Actually, ever since Lincoln was hospitalized last time. And suddenly a group of bodyguards barged in and slapped him. Even smashed things. I've felt like things aren't that simple. What do you mean by that? Don't tell me. The last time Lincoln was slapped in the hospital was also something Campus Belle Luo ordered? How is that possible? Yang Hui shouted out loud, her voice as harsh and sharp as ever. Just one look at Lin Haoyu's ugly face. What woman would be interested in him? Absolutely impossible. You're totally overthinking it. Even if she likes Campus Belle's, she should like our Lincoln instead. How could she possibly like Lin Haoyu? And how could she possibly support him? Lincoln stomped angrily and said, Mom's right. Does Lin Haoyu even deserve her? Lin Yuandong shook his head. No matter what, it's been almost a month since the car accident. I think we should find a chance to visit the Luo family and check in on second Miss Luo. Also get a read on the situation. Go to the Luo family. Lincoln's eyes lit up. He immediately said, Dad, I want to go too. Deputy Lin had absolutely no way to deal with this precious son of his. He could only give in, all right, I'll take you with me. I opened my phone's memo and saw that the time left before the contract expires and I can return to my true appearance was now less than 2 months. Before I knew it, a whole month had already passed so quickly. Linger's leg, injured in the car accident, was almost completely healed. Does this mean the days of leaving Luo Qingli and getting away from the entire Luo family are getting closer? My chest felt a little tight. It seemed like I had already gotten used to Linger's angelic smile and Luo Qingli's sharp tongue and cold gaze. Habits really are a terrifying thing. Like usual, I arrived at the Luo residence. Linger had caught a cold and didn't come downstairs. She had taken medicine and was fast asleep. Luo Qingli was casually watching TV as if no one was around. I cleared my throat softly, then walked up and gently called out, Luo Qingli, did you have something to do with the drama club? Making an exception to let me in. Luo Qingli gave me a faint, uninterested glance. Lin Haoyu, read fewer dog blood romance novels. Stop inserting yourself into the plot. It's pathetic. I have neither the time nor the interest to meddle in your business. Got it. You could have just said you didn't interfere. Why did you have to be so harsh about it? I mumbled quietly to myself. Luo Qingli looked at me coldly. What did you say? I immediately chickened out. I didn't say anything. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I'll get it. I turned and ran off in a hurry. Luo Qingli's gaze quietly followed my back the whole time. I ran out, and the moment I saw who was at the door, my smile instantly froze on my face. They were the people I least wanted to see in my life. Lincoln, Yang Hui, and my father. Seeing me standing there, Yang Hui snapped angrily. What are you standing around for? You're doing this on purpose, huh? Hurry up and open the door for us. I pressed my lips together, but still stepped forward and opened the door. Lincoln shoved me hard out of the way. You door-blocking mutt, then strutted arrogantly into the villa. I was pretty annoyed. Lincoln was seriously getting out of hand. Luo Qingli is someone who likes peace and quiet. Even the maids in the villa only come at specific cleaning times. They're not around at any other time. But now those 3, Lincoln and the others, you barged in without even saying a word in advance. You just stormed into the Luo family villa like that. It was originally a peaceful atmosphere, instantly filled with Crocodile's flattering voice. Yang Hui smiled flatteringly at Miss Luo. We came without informing you first. Hope we didn't disturb you. Lin Yuandong placed the nutritional supplements on the coffee table. Also smiling along, second miss. We haven't seen you since the car accident. We don't know how well you've recovered. Has Lin Haoyu been taking good care of you? Ling Shun stared at Luo Qingli with a love-struck face. Luo Qingli looked at the 3 of them with a blank expression, then turned her gaze toward me not far away. Didn't I tell you not to bring just anyone home? I shrugged innocently. It wasn't me who brought them. They insisted on barging in. I couldn't even stop them. Looking at the 3 people, Luo Qingli's eyes remained calm. Her voice was icy cold, without a trace of emotion. Take your stuff and get out. Lin Yuandong looked extremely embarrassed. He tried to speak kindly. Miss Luo, we mean no harm. We just simply wanted to see second miss. Unfortunately, Luo Qingli wasn't buying it at all. Her stunning face showed no emotion. I'll give you 10 seconds. Decide whether you want to walk out on your own or be thrown out by my people. Ling Chung quickly tried to explain. Miss Luo, my parents really had good intentions. Please don't be mad. Luo Qingli lifted her eyelids and coldly said 3 words. You too, out. Ling Chun's face turned pale instantly. Luo Qingli didn't show them a shred of respect. Since she spoke, the 3 of them didn't dare say a word. Lin Yuandong looked at me pleadingly. Hoping I'd help, I averted my gaze. Linger is sick today. She's resting upstairs right now. You probably won't get to see her. Lin Yuandong quickly nodded, looking at Luo Qingli again. He spoke without much hope. I see ... Luo school beauty, I just want to talk to you. It's about Lin Haoyu. Unexpectedly this time, Luo Qingli didn't respond. There seemed to be hope. Lin Yuandong tried again. Then we'll go ahead and sit down." As he said this, he gave a look to his wife and son. Lincoln sat down proudly. As soon as he sat on the sofa, he acted like he was the master of the house. He turned to me, saying, "Hey, go get me a glass of water." I looked at Lincoln confusedly. "Am I your servant?" Lincoln answered righteously. "Isn't your identity now just that of a servant? When guests arrive, isn't it your job to serve them water?" Luo Qingli coldly interrupted. "Did I ever say you were my guest? Where did you get that face, Miss Luo?" Lincoln pouted in grievance. "But I really am thirsty. You don't have hands. Or are your hands just for decoration?" For the first time, I realized Luo Qingli's sharp tongue was also so beautiful. She handled Lincoln so well, it lifted my mood. Ha ha ha. Lincoln kept getting rejected by Luo Qingli. His anger growing, but he didn't dare lash out. He could only glare at me resentfully. If this had been in the past, Lin Yuandong would have scolded me for being disrespectful. But now, in front of Luo Qingli, he couldn't speak to directly. He could only cough lightly and say, "Lin Haoyu, go pour your sister a glass of water. It won't kill you. If not, just say it's for me." Am I, your father, not allowed to tell you what to do? I opened my mouth, but before I could speak, a proud voice rang out, "Don't go." Luo Qingli stood like a queen. She leaned back on the sofa with her arms spread out, signaled me with her eyes to sit next to her. "Come here." Could it be that Luo Qingli is favoring me? I quickly walked over to sit beside Luo Qingli. "Mr. Lin, this is not a charity shelter. If you're so thirsty, go drink water at your own home." Luo Qingli turned to look at Lin Yuandong. Her deep eyes burned with a cold intensity, radiating a dominant aura over everything. The words she said left no room for politeness or face. Cold sweat dripped down Lin Yuandong's face. He wiped his forehead with his sleeve, nodding repeatedly, "Yes, yes, yes. Miss Luo, you're absolutely right. We didn't know our place. Actually, today He started rambling with some polite small talk. I stared ahead, zoning out. Lincoln sat between Lin Yuandong and Yang Hui, being protected like a precious treasure. Those three were clearly the real family. I sighed inwardly. Meow, at some point, had come down the stairs. She came over to me and rubbed against me affectionately, purring comfortably with soft snoring sounds. Lincoln was surprised that Luo Qingli actually had a cat at home. Excitedly said, "What a cute cat." As he spoke, he stood up and approached, trying to take Meow Meow from my arms. But just as he reached out his hand, Meow Meow suddenly fluffed up. "Meow," she shrieked. Her sharp claws slashed at him without hesitation. Lincoln screamed. Lin Yuandong rushed over anxiously. "Lincoln, are you okay?" Yang Hui nervously checked Lincoln's wounds. She glared at me. "Did you do this on purpose?" Honestly, it happened so suddenly. Even I was stunned. I didn't expect Meow Meow to react like that. No wonder, when I first met Meow Meow, Linger had nervously warned me that Meow Meow was fierce, scratches people, and usually doesn't like being touched. Looks like it was all true. She only lets me touch her. Meow Meow really does go berserk and scratch people. Lincoln reacted quickly just now, so he didn't get scratched. But he broke into a cold sweat from the scare. Still in shock, he said, "Miss Luo, why is your cat like this?" It must have been influenced by Lin Haoyu. Luo Qingli looked down, calmly straightening her sleeve. "This cat has been with us since it was 3 months old. Now it's 3 years old. She's always been my sister's best companion." "So, you're saying my sister, and I failed to raise it properly?" Lin Yuandong quickly smoothed things over. "That's not what we meant. Forget it, forget it. As long as no one's hurt, it's fine." Even though Lincoln was clearly frustrated, he had no choice but to hold it all in front of Luo Qingli. His palms were still sweaty from the scare earlier. He stood up and excused himself to the bathroom. In the bathroom, as the water flowed, Lincoln washed his left hand, while cursing under his breath, "Damn you, Lin Haoyu. Just you wait. If only he had been the one to come here instead of Lin Haoyu to take care of Miss Luo's sister. At least he would have had daily contact with Miss Luo." Originally, They sent Lin Haoyu to work hard for the Luo family, but Lin Haoyu didn't look like he suffered at all. Even a fool like Lincoln could tell. From the moment they walked in, Luo Qingli was protecting Lin Haoyu every step of the way. So frustrating, Lincoln furiously turned off the tap. He refused to believe that he could lose to some disfigured freak. After washing up, Lincoln opened the door and walked out. But unexpectedly, he saw Meow Meow eating and food nearby. It was that damn cat's fault that he embarrassed himself in front of Miss Luo earlier. Lincoln looked around cautiously, then took off his jacket and slowly walked toward Meow Meow. 5 minutes later, he returned to the living room like nothing had happened. Lin Yuandong and Yang Hui had already been dismissed by Luo Qingli. Zhu Kelly was standing at the door waiting for him. Lincoln, quickly say goodbye to Miss Luo. We're leaving now. Upon hearing this, Lincoln gave a forced smile. Miss Luo, then we'll take our leave now. If there's another chance, I'll come visit second Miss again. Unfortunately, Luo Qingli didn't even spare him a glance. She completely ignored Lincoln. I quietly laughed. I don't know why, but watching Lincoln constantly try to please Luo Qingli, only to get slapped in the face again and again, was honestly so satisfying. After they left, peace returned to the villa. I poured a cup of coffee and eagerly brought it to Luo Qingli. Luo Qingli, were you protecting me just now? Thank you. Luo Qingli had already opened her laptop and was working. Hearing what I said, the sound of her fingers tapping on the keyboard suddenly paused. She glanced sideways at me. Her stunning face, every feature, looked as though it was meticulously sculpted by God. From up close, she looked even more impossibly beautiful. I scratched my chin sheepishly and said with self-awareness, I know, you're probably going to say I'm being self-important again. You just purely can't stand Lincoln, right? It's not because you were protecting me, right? But Luo Qingli didn't rush to deny it. She just looked at me with deep, thoughtful eyes. Her red lips parted slightly, and she called my name, Lin Haoyu. From now on, don't so casually let others push you around. After saying that, Luo Qingli turned her gaze back to the computer screen. Her long, slender fingers resumed flying across the keyboard. It was such a simple sentence, but my heartbeat started to race uncontrollably. It just kept getting faster. What's happening to me? Am I being charmed? Why is it so quiet all of a sudden? So scared. Luo Qingli heard the restless beating of my heart. I quickly coughed to cover it up. Change the topic. What are you doing? As I spoke, I leaned forward to take a look. It looked so advanced. Before I could say those words, I heard Butler Lee rushing down the stairs in a panic. Miss, something's wrong. Luo Qingli and I almost reacted at the same time. It was clear Butler Lee had received professional training, and he was already over 50, an experienced senior housekeeper. He had almost never been this flustered. Just now, second Miss woke up. She was crying for Meow Meow, but we searched the entire villa and couldn't find it. Meow Meow is missing. Luo Qingli's face darkened. He shut his laptop and dashed upstairs. Just as we entered Linger's room, we heard the maid's panicked voice. Second Miss, you mustn't do that. Quick, bring the scissors here. It's too dangerous. I also rushed up behind them. But as I entered the room, I was stunned and widened my eyes in shock. The usual cute and playful little angel Linger, at that moment, seemed like a completely different person. Her small body was curled up in a corner, still holding a pair of scissors in her hand. Her expression was totally different from usual. She looked like she wanted everyone far away. Luo Linger. Luo Qingli called her name. His voice was full of tension. Linger's usual sweet tone now carried a clearly visible rejection. Don't come any closer. Don't come near. I stood confused at the door. Was this really Linger? What on earth happened to her? Luo Qingli shouted angrily. Why are you all standing there like statues? Go get the doctor now. We already made the call. The family doctor is on the way. Go wait at the villa gate. The servants trembled as they answered, yes. I was at a loss. What's wrong with Linger? How did she suddenly become like this? Ruo Qing. Li leaned weakly against the wall behind him. He looked exhausted. I had never seen Luo Qingli like this from the first time I met him. He had always been calm and composed. So calm it was as if no one and nothing could ever shake him. Always arrogant and proud. Always standing above everyone else. So powerful it didn't even seem like he was just a girl. But at this moment, I felt like I saw another side of Luo Qingli. Butler Lee ran up after us, panting slightly. Apologies, young master. I couldn't stop the young miss. Luo Qingli didn't seem to care. Instead, his gaze was fixed on the trembling Linger, curled up not far away. He gently parted his lips. It's dissociative identity disorder. I was stunned. Dissociative identity disorder? I had heard of it before, but had never seen it in real life. Luo Qingli kept his eyes on Linger and spoke slowly. The usual Linger is the normal one. She's like any ordinary child, playful and cheerful, but once she's triggered, her other personality is immediately awakened. I also looked toward Linger. Right now, she looked like a paranoid little demon. She pressed the sharp scissors against her pale, tender arm. I want Meow Meow. Give me Meow Meow back. You're all bad people. All of you are bad people. Linger was actually trying to hurt herself. The tip of the scissors was just a little more pressure away from cutting her arm open. I wanted to rush forward. Linger, don't come any closer. Linger looked up. Those once innocent and pure eyes were now filled with alertness. Facing the unfamiliar Luo Qingli, full of emotions, he could only go along with his sister's words. All right, we won't come over. Don't hurt yourself. Do you understand? Linger gripped the scissors, stubbornly and numbly repeating one sentence. I just want Meow Meow. I just want Meow Meow. How could this be? I couldn't believe what I was seeing right now. When she was 3 years old, Linger went to kindergarten. Because of a traumatic incident at school, a new personality was triggered among her classmates. Since then, she was seen as a freak by all her classmates. From that incident onward, although on the surface, Linger still acted like a normal child, I knew she was deeply resistant to the world. Luo Qingli lowered his eyes, his lashes casting a faint shadow. Meow Meow was the cat we brought back when she was 3. That cat was Linger's only companion until now. Maybe in Linger's heart, the cat was more than just a companion. It was her emotional anchor. Listening to what Luo Qingli was saying and looking at the trembling Linger in the distance, I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. I always thought Linger was a sunshine-filled little angel, but I never imagined, especially when I heard Luo Qingli say, Meow Meow was Linger's only friend. My small hand clenched slightly, and I tried to speak softly. Linger, listen to me. The little bun was clearly still resisting. Her grip on the scissors tightened again. If I can't see Meow Meow, then I don't want anything. If I take another step closer, she immediately cut herself. It was clear to everyone. Luo Qingli sighed softly. It's no use. Don't provoke her any further. Right now, we can only wait for the family doctor to arrive and perform hypnosis therapy. There's no other way. If we forcibly try to approach and take the scissors from Linger's hand, she might really do something extreme. It's hard to predict what she might do. Just because I took a couple of steps forward, Linger already pressed the sharp tip of the scissors against her tender, childlike skin. Tiny drops of blood instantly oozed from her fair skin. My heart ached with pain, and I didn't dare move. Is this really something a 6-year-old child would do? Is dissociative identity disorder really this frightening? A servant rushed up anxiously. Young master, something's wrong. The storm outside is too heavy, and there's a traffic jam. The doctor is stuck on the road and can't move. He just called to ask if he could come a bit later. Luo Qingli's face turned ice cold instantly. Come later? What are we even paying him for? Tell him this. He'd better find a way to get here. Even if he has to fly, he needs to fly here right now. Otherwise, he never needs to come again. This is a life or death emergency. Linger could become even more dangerous at any moment, even though Luo Qingli rarely spoils Linger. This little sister still means the world to him. The servant nodded repeatedly and hurried back down. What should we do? The doctor can't arrive soon. But Linger can't stay like this forever. It's way too dangerous to keep waiting like this. I thought for a moment, then knelt down slowly, a short distance away from Linger. By doing so, even though there was still some space between us, at least now we were at eye level. Linger, look at me. I'm your big brother, remember? Don't you usually love playing with me the most? Linger's long eyelashes trembled slightly, but her eyes were still filled with caution as she looked at me. She didn't speak. I whispered, let me tell you a secret. Actually, Meow Meow didn't disappear. He's playing hide and seek with us. Do you want to go find him together? Linger still didn't speak, but I could tell. Her grip on the scissors had loosened a bit. He's hiding somewhere in the villa right now, waiting for you to find him. It's been so long. He might be thinking, is my little master a silly head? Why hasn't she found me yet? I exaggeratedly imitated a cat's voice, making it hard not to smile. After speaking, I didn't approach her. I just reached my hand out to Linger with a smile. Come here, big brother will play hide and seek with you. Let's go find Meow Meow. After a moment of silence, Linger finally spoke. Her voice no longer held the resistance from earlier, but instead a bit of doubt. Are you telling the truth? He's really playing hide and seek with me. If you're lying to me, I won't talk to you ever again. I nodded frantically. It's true, come on. I'll take you to go find him. Butler Lee, standing aside, was shocked to see their second miss actually climbing up from the corner. Though she was still holding the scissors, her guard had clearly dropped. Her small figure was slowly, hesitantly walking toward me. How is this possible? Even Luo Qingli was stunned, since she was little. Linger had rarely triggered her alternate personality. To his memory, this was only the third time. And every time, she had always expressed it through self-harming and extreme behavior, or rather, to achieve her goal. Even Luo Qingli couldn't do anything about it. They could only wait for the doctor to come and hypnotize Linger, but this person in front of them, with just a few words, how could something so unbelievable happen in this world? A chubby little hand gently grabbed my index finger. Linger lifted her little face. You have to help me find Meow Meow. Looking into Linger's eyes, which were gradually clearing up, my heart turned unbelievably soft. I nodded and replied firmly, okay. Then I held her hand and walked out of the room. Butler Lee asked in a troubled voice, Mr. Lin, Meow Meow really is missing. She's not playing hide and seek with Linger. Where are you planning to take the second miss? To find Meow Meow? How could you find her? What if you don't find her? Second miss might get even more agitated. I waved my hand, my gaze resolute. It's okay. Trust me. I looked toward Luo Qingli not far away. My eyes seemed to be reassuring her, clearly with thick bangs and a silly appearance. Yet it made Luo Qingli's eyes soften a bit. This idiot. She pressed her lips into a beautiful straight line and stepped forward to follow us. I solemnly held Linger's hand and searched every corner of the Luo family villa for Meow Meow. While we were searching, the family doctor had finally arrived in a hurry with professional hypnosis. Even though Meow Meow was still missing and Linger was emotional, she was finally under control for now. She fell into a deep sleep, as if calm after a storm. Luo Qingli sat on the sofa in the living room, her entire body shrouded in a chilling aura. Her face showed deep exhaustion. I looked at her from afar. Every time I had seen Luo Qingli before, she always appeared noble and dignified, as if nothing in the world could ever trouble her. She's a daughter of heaven. But today, I seemed to see another side of Luo Qingli, a side I had never seen before. I stepped forward and asked, You still haven't found Meow Meow? Luo Qingli lifted her eyelids. She replied calmly, We've searched the entire place. We can be certain he's no longer in the villa. How could that be? Where could a cat have gone? How did it even get out? At that moment, Butler Lee stepped forward and addressed Luo Qingli respectfully. Second miss is asleep now. She won't wake up again until at least tomorrow. Let the family doctor stay and monitor Luo Linger at all times. Luo Qingli glanced sideways at the large window. The rain outside was still pounding against the glass. She looked away and stood up, walking toward me. As she passed by, she said in a low, calm voice, You're staying here tonight too. Dealing with Linger is already enough of a headache. I don't want to worry about you as well. With that, she walked away. I stared in disbelief at Luo Qingli's back. Then I turned to look out the window. The rain outside was pouring. Even my heartbeat seemed to be thrown off by the rhythm of the raindrops. The servant prepared a guest room for me. I was feeling conflicted. What should I do? I promised Linger just now that I would definitely help her find Meow Meow if we don't find him by tomorrow. Will Linger really stop talking to me? I have to find Meow Meow. Half an hour later, I opened the window and stretched out my hand. The rain seemed to have let up a little. That night, I grabbed the umbrella and rushed downstairs.